have Tommy Lynch and Sally Davis. Tommy runs our Parks Department and Sally runs the community centers. And what is really amazing about Tommy and Sally is that they have worked in the Parks Department for their entire careers. And so I gotta get these years right. You gotta tell me. How many years have you worked in the Parks Department? 45, and Sally? 37. So since they were either in college or right after college, they have worked for our Parks Department. They are native Nashvillians, and they have spent their entire careers giving back to our park system in different, like at the golf courses and in the community centers and now in the administrative offices. So they know pretty much everything there is to know about parks. So I will now turn this over to them and they can tell you what they know.
I'll use this so that you can hear me. Usually I don't have to have a microphone, but since we're recording this, I think this would be the best way for me to talk. Thank you, Shauna, for that wonderful introduction. I am Tommy Lynch. I'm the Director of Parks and Recreation. Hopefully you are familiar with what we have to offer, because what we have to offer kind of makes life worth living in Nashville. And we feel that Nashville is a great place to live, a great place to work, but you need to be able to play to be able to do this. And what we do is kind of fill in the gaps on everything else that makes your life worthwhile. One of the things that just to give you sort of the basic summation of what our Parks Department is, we have 117 different parks located throughout the county. Wherever you live, I'm willing to bet there is a park or more than one park that you pass to get to here. Every park is very similar, but at the same time, every park is different so that it reflects the community that it's in, and it reflects what the people who live in that very community have talked to us about. We have 19 different greenways throughout the city. And the Greenway Initiative is another initiative that sort of unfolds or folds into the transportation aspect of Nashville, because if you've been around here for a while, you would know that riding bicycles is an alternative transportation. The BCAP program and our Greenway program are the two programs that are kind of tying in the walkability and the bikeability aspect of Nashville so that people can get off of the streets more often than not and either use a bike lane or use one of our greenways to get around town. Right now, we have 68 miles of greenways throughout the county, and the plan that we're implementing will get up to 210 miles of greenways. And most of the greenways are located in either two fashions. One, along a river or a stream to kind of get people away from the hustle and the bustle of the city life so that you can get out to yourself and get to the point where you enjoy nature and see the various aspects of the natural environment of the city. And the other aspects of the greenways is they are a connection from one park to another park so that you can go and enjoy various different parts of town. In doing that, we have so many things to offer from a cultural aspect or from a personal aspect to whether you like to walk, exercise, or have events. Right now, we've opened 2 new community centers within the last 2 years. One that Shauna mentioned, the one out in Southeast that you've been to. It's actually our biggest community center. We've just opened another one over at Sevier Park in the 12 South area of town. And I'm gonna try to avoid talking about the community centers because Sally runs those and knows more about the programs that we're offering there. And we will stay within our time, but at the same time, between the two of us, we will talk about our Parks Department, but then I hope will generate some questions from you to us and give us all enough time to maybe answer the questions as we move forward. We have a couple big things right on the agenda today that are being built that are going to be opening within the next few months. Within a mile from here, down on the riverfront, we're doing an expansion of Riverfront Park that also will provide a new amphitheater for a music venue that will kind of be another step in Nashville being Music City, having outdoor music available to our citizens and our visitors to Nashville is one of the big attractions of Nashville. And I know Shauna talked about us, both Sally and myself, being native Nashvillians. It is such a gratifying aspect. This is my city. And now that you're here, this is your city as well. And for the people of Nashville to be so open to the assimilation of various different cultures and the assimilation of people coming to Nashville to be part of our lives, and for us to be opening up our city to other people is just such a good feeling from the Parks Department standpoint. We have over 14,000 acres of parks in our 117 parks we have throughout the county. We have acres where we have ball fields, we have soccer fields, we have basketball courts, we have exercise areas, and we have areas for the expression of all dance and performance arts and things of this nature. We feel like we don't provide everything that everybody needs, but we provide something that everybody needs, that they need to make their life fulfilled and to enjoy our city and to enjoy what living in Nashville is all about. I don't know if you play golf, but we have 6 golf courses around the city. We're upgrading all of our parks to make sure that we are suitable for the large city that Nashville's become. A lot of the parks had one aspect 30, 40 years ago. I know one thing that used to be a big deal in Nashville was softball and baseball. But as our city changes, as our city grows, as the culture of Nashville changes, and as people come into Nashville, there are more and more different activities that people are expecting from the Parks Department. Right now, we're building athletic and soccer fields in all the areas of town, but I think at this point, we couldn't build soccer fields fast enough. We have so many people. Soccer is still a growing sport in America, but for a lot of people that are in this room, football, as our version of football, is a little bit different. But we're trying to catch up with the need to provide these areas for you to enjoy something that you brought with you to Nashville as you came to live here and chose Nashville as your home. There are so many things about the Parks Department I could go on and on. As Shauna talked about, I've worked in a community center and I've worked in our administration for several years. It's one of these things, the people who work in the Parks Department, most of them are folks that work there for a long time, and it's where people find their niche. There's no better feeling than being of service to others, and we have so many people working throughout our department that want it to be environmentalists. We've got 6 nature centers where we teach environmental education as well as outdoor recreation, from rock climbing to canoeing and kayaking and the active outdoor recreational activities. We have so much to offer. I truly hope as you stay here and as you live here that you choose our parks departments to be part of your life, because it can help fulfill the things that you love about your life and the things that you like about Nashville. So with that, before I go on and on, I'm gonna let Sally come up here and talk about the programs that we have in our community centers, because the programs there go from senior citizens to children and to adults. Thank you.
Thank you, Tommy. I've been very fortunate to work for the parks for 37 years, and I'm so happy to see all of y'all here. I've been able to work with Shauna with the New Americans Corner, and we have that in our facilities to help people that need to learn how to become citizens. Community centers our community centers are wonderful. I can't tell you enough good things about them. And we're open and we're there, and we want you to come visit us with your families and take advantage of all the things we have to offer. We've got 26 community centers in Nashville. 19 of those are what we call neighborhood centers. They're the smaller centers that are in inner city neighborhoods that are very diverse and populated. And then we have 7 regional centers that are spread out around the county that provide a little more service than the neighborhoods, with fitness centers and a lot of instruction in dance, theater, exercise, Zumba, all the different classes. One thing about our neighborhood centers is that most of the things at our neighborhood centers are free of charge. We try to do things for families where you can bring your families and enjoy recreation without having to have a lot of money involved. It's a wonderful program. 3 of the things I wanted to specifically tell y'all about that we do are we have a very good summer enrichment program for children. The summer enrichment program, we're getting ready to start here in the next a week from now. We've already had sign-ups, unfortunately, that I'm to this group a little bit late, that we are full in our summer enrichment program, which is a good thing, and hopefully some of y'all's children are involved in that. But we provide the summer enrichment program for the 8 weeks that the children are out of school, and we try to keep them busy with art, and we've just gotten a grant for this year to provide theater and all the performing arts for the children. So we're going to have dance, theater, music. We're just so excited. It's like it's God-given that we got this grant. But one of the things in the summer enrichment program is that it's very structured, and it keeps the children on task during the summer to keep them focused on things that, sometimes you get out in the summer and you get lackadaisical. We keep them busy and moving and enjoying each other. We put them in age groups, and they enjoy doing all the activities. Another thing that we do for 9 months out of the year is our after-school program. And it's very helpful for the children because we have homework help. Not only do we do the recreational side, but we try to keep the educational side with us as we program. So our after-school program, the children come from school, and every community center has an after-school program. So there's probably one near you that if you have children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, look into that. And I'm going to have a little question-answer thing here at the end, so if you have any questions, we'll be glad to answer them. Another program that we have in our community centers is our senior program. And we don't have senior programs at every center, but we try to have them around the city so that there's one available close to your home. The seniors program really does a good job of keeping our seniors active. We have walking programs. We take the seniors bowling. We do outside activities. They have lunch every day at the center, and it's provided through the Metro Action Commission at our senior programming. So it's a really healthy thing for seniors to get out of their home, to come and play cards and enjoy each other, and it gives them some camaraderie, especially the seniors that are by themselves that need to get out and have some activity. The seniors, we have 2 big events every year for our seniors. We have a Valentine's Ball that is really it's a ball, so to speak. We have a great time. Everybody dresses up, and we do the Valentine's Ball, and we have live music. And so providing something for the seniors, too, to get out and enjoy each other and to dance. And not only is it fun and have that, but they do get to exercise. Because I was surprised when I first got involved with the senior ball. It was great watching them. They danced their feet off. Nobody sat down. So The other thing that we do with the seniors is we have a senior picnic as a matter of fact, it's coming up next week. We get all of them together at Centennial Park we've got a great event shelter there that's covered, so in case of rain, but we get everybody together for the senior picnic. So those two citywide things bring our seniors together from each community center. They all come together and can share, what they do at the different programs. It's just our community centers are there and available for you. I can't urge you enough to come and use them. Bring your families. There's something there for everybody. Like I said, the neighborhood centers, some of the neighborhood centers, we have the fitness centers in, and there's no charge to use them. We have folks there that can show you how to use the machines, and, it's something as simple as just coming and walking on a treadmill. It's very open. I guess I could tell you a story about another program that we have. It's called the GROW program. We've been so fortunate to be involved in this program. It's a 7-year study that we have connected with Vanderbilt Children's Hospital to do a 7-year study on childhood obesity. And we are in the 5th year of that program, and we have found out so many things that we can do as recreators to help with the childhood obesity problem, which we all see every day. The program, the GROW program, we started at Coleman Community Center. It's in I guess it's the south. I've been here my whole.
It's Flat Rock. It's Woodbine.
Woodbine, that's what they call it. Right, and so it's a big center. It's sitting on the corner of Nolensville Road and Thompson Lane. And when we started the GROW program there, we were kind of keying on Hispanic families because we have so many Hispanic families in that area. And so the large majority of the folks in the program were Hispanic families. Well, we found out from as we spoke to the families and they came into the program, they were there in the park and they were out using the perimeter around the center, using the playgrounds, the walking track, but we're a little skeptical about whether they could use the community center or not because some of them just weren't sure what the community center was about. And so we found as we went along that once we brought them into the community center with the GROW program and explained the programs to them and we started doing some research, we found out that it's just a matter of welcoming people and walking out and saying, come to the building, this is what we've got to offer. And it's amazing in the last 5 years to see the progression that we've made at Coleman with a great diversity of families, and everybody has melded in, and we all work together, play together, and everybody feels comfortable to come in and they understand what we're all about. And I think if we can do anything in the community centers, it's to make sure that people understand that you're welcome. It's an open door policy. We want you to come in. We want to answer questions. Your questions, our staff. I can't say enough about our staff out at the community centers. We've got a lot of dedicated people that want to make your life better. They want to offer activities. They want to make sure that whatever it is is your need in a recreational or leisure setting, that we're providing. So we love feedback. We love for you to come to the center. We give tours. We tell you what's there. That's the main thing, is that I think, especially in this MyCity Academy, we want you to know in Parks and Recreation that we are here for you. And I guess when Shauna was introducing us, talking about Tommy and I being with the park so long, when you get into recreation and you start working with people and you see the good things that we bring, it's a hard job to leave. You just love it. And I can't tell you how much it means to me to be able to come to work every day and love what I do. And I'm here for you. I'm here for the citizens of Nashville and all the residents of Nashville, and we want you to know that we're here and that we are so happy to be here and offering recreation activity to you. We wanted to, just for a few minutes here, I know we've got so many diverse programs, and I have people come up to me every day and go, I had no idea that y'all taught pottery. I wanted to take pottery, and I never knew y'all taught it. Or I had no idea that you taught Zumba at Coleman Park. And it's really hard because we've got so much information to get out. It's really hard for us, so this is a good thing for us to be able to come and talk to you. We've got, if you want it, we probably have it. You just need to ask. But one of the things, too, I wanted to tell you about how we bring the other cultures in is we created a class called Zoom Familia. And it is a takeoff on Zumba. But it's a class for families. It's for the mom, for the dad, for the young children, the seniors. Everybody can participate in Zoom Familia. It's kind of an adaptation to get a Spanish-speaking teacher so that folks that have the language barrier can come in and enjoy the class. So we're working towards doing that too. We want to have classes that are easy for you to take and understand and enjoy. So we do adapt things to communities, different programs we can change to make it better for you. We just need feedback on what you need, and we'd love to have that. I'm going to ask Tommy to come back up, and we wanted to open up the floor to questions because I know everybody has questions about parks. I still have questions. I call the other divisions and ask all the time, what's going on? You know, what are we doing with this? So if we can, we'd like to open up the floor for any questions that you may have about parks and recreation.
Yeah, so both of you talked about kind of designing things to reflect the community. So I'm specifically interested in park design, so designing amenities and programming. Can you speak to how you gather that data? Do you do formal surveying before you design a park, or how does that work?
Well, we work with landscape architects, and we also work with the planning department here in Nashville, and then we'll have public meetings before we actually open a park. We have had, and right now we're in the process of having public meetings on 2 of the community centers that we're getting ready to build next year. So we do it both from the community aspect, but we use the professionals in the field, the landscape architects and the architects. And we also draw on resources like the National Recreation and Park Association to see that we're meeting trends and not just following fads that are going nationwide. Yes.
So I'm a big fan of the community centers, and I think having something that's free and accessible to people is awesome. I live close to McCabe Park, and my roommates and I would often go and use the free bicycles. And recently that was taken away, and B-cycle was added in as a pay option. So can you speak to the effect of why it's moving in that direction of having something to pay for, and are there still those free options elsewhere?
Yeah, I can speak to that. The green bikes that you were talking about that were free, we had a program that was run that was actually kind of a donated program, and they were maintaining the bikes. That's basically we had to phase that program out because we didn't have the funds to maintain the bikes and that type of stuff. Do we still have we were phasing them out, but there may be, I know McCabe has been one that's been phased into the paid bicycles. We didn't want to take the program out completely, so we came back with just a small fee to rent the bicycles. But that was a program that we didn't have, we couldn't continue the funding of the green bikes. It was a donation type thing.
And in actuality, it was also partly grant funded, the maintenance of it through the Nash Vitality grant that was going through the health department. So we sort of partner with the downtown partnership that runs B-Cycle, and that's going more into all the various different parks. It's at Centennial Park, it's at Riverfront Park, and it's really throughout at several of our nature centers. We still have a bike program, and we have as part of our outdoor recreation, we have mountain bikes that we take around to some of our mountain bike trails at Bell's Bend and at the Shelby Bottoms Greenway. The one thing, and before I go to another question, that I really want to make sure I make people aware of it, because one of the things that we are very proud of what we do in the parks are some of our events. And every fall in October, we have a major event in Centennial Park. It started out as a partnership with Scarrett Bennett, and it was called Celebration of Cultures. And in the last 4 years, we've taken it over. Scarrett Bennett wasn't able to continue their partnership with us, but we still have, it's called Celebrate Nashville. And as part of that event, it still brings people from all the various different cultures, and we work with all the various different people from across the world that are here in Nashville. And it brings everybody to Centennial Park to kind of celebrate everything from music and food and dance and crafts and things that we all have in common, to kind of make us all aware that as different as we may feel that we have so much more in common than we ever have that's any sort of a difference. And I want to make sure everyone knows that is an event that's in Centennial. It's probably our largest event, but it's such a celebration of everybody who lives in Nashville and has moved to Nashville and made it their home. Yes, sir.
Mr. Lynch, I appreciate all y'all's time and everything that y'all put into this, because I know that you're passionate, apparently, for what you've done for all these years. And you said that you were going to be taking all parks and redoing every one of them. When will that take place, upgrading all of them? How much time frame will that be?
Well, in essence, it's a continuous process. We've been looking at, we get money from capital money through the budget each year. It's called a deferred maintenance type of budget situation. And so, like for instance, at West Park, we used to have 4 softball diamonds and a small community center, and now we've turned that over to 3 soccer fields and with only 1 ball diamond. But we're adding, the thing that we appear to be needing to be adding is to make it very easy, and this is one initiative that Mayor Dean has been really pushing about making it easy for people to get out to exercise and to get out and walk and enjoy the city of Nashville and enjoy their life. And that's one of the things that we were doing at West Park. But it's a continuous process. We've been doing it the entire time Mayor Dean is here, and we anticipate that we'll be doing the same program, because as Nashville changes, we need to take our older parks and not just keep operating them the way they are simply because we have them, but operate them the way the city needs it to be done now.
And you said that we have 140,000 acres?
No, we have 14,000 acres. Yeah.
Okay.
And we may have 18,000 by the end of the day. We're continually adding acreage to the Parks Department. As Mayor Dean has mentioned a couple times when he and I are together, that my empire appears to be ever expanding.
And I got you. And you said the 68 miles of Greenway would be 210 eventually. Is that just an ongoing thing as well?
That's another plan. That's part of the Parks and Greenways Master Plan that was initiated in 2001 and has been added to by the Open Space Plan that came about in 2010 as a result of the flood. So we're still acquiring property, we're still adding greenways, and we're still updating the older existing parks.
And a question for Ms. Davis, please, if you don't mind. I've noticed in my council race for the fairgrounds, I've talked to a lot of the elderly people in that district, and they have been talking to me about codes getting on them. Is there any kind of program that we can instill or help the elderly that can't afford to get their grass cut, and then codes are actually fining them and putting pressure on these type people? Is there anything that you know that we can do for those people? Does that fall under this jurisdiction?
Yeah, that really doesn't fall under our jurisdiction. I believe Beautification Bureau may be a first contact for that. They're in the Public Works Department. Yeah, we're barely getting our grass cut. Believe me. Yeah, so as far as Parks and Recreation, that would be sort of out of our realm.
Well, we sure appreciate what y'all do and all your input and the years that y'all put into it.
Thank you. You go. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Mine is really a comment. I'm part of the Kurdish community here in Nashville, and we're the largest minority group here in Nashville. On behalf of them, I used to serve on the board, and his name would pop on a lot of emails, and I believe Mr. Bob Parrish, I used to do the Metro Parks. On behalf of our community, I would just like to say thank you. You guys are very accommodating. Every year when we have our New Day or New Year celebration, I mean, they open Edward Water Parks to us, and they actually bring those, anything that we need. And when I was on the board, every time you guys would reach out to us and how you can accommodate us, because we have so many people participating in that New Year festival. So on behalf of our community, I just like to say thank you. And we have some people here from our community, and they're very well aware that you guys are.
Yeah, I probably failed to mention our involvement with the Kurdish community, because that has been a very big step that we've made over the past several years to reach out and to make sure our people at our parks understood that parks are for everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Actually met with Mr. Parrish, and when we went out to eat with some of our board members. So just thank you.
Thank you.
I have two things. I think if you can add, I don't know if you have that program or not, teaching English to the new immigrants coming. I think it would be a good idea to bring the people to the community centers around the area, and they will know that place and what they can do for them. And the other thing, the other question, if let's say we as a Kurdish community Salahuddin Center, we have a land, and we use it for the community and the people who are living around. We will want to build a soccer field here or trail, the parking. They will help us to do that or not?
I would say we would be more than willing to partner and help you do things like that. There's a couple of spaces where we had purchased parkland that we hadn't developed, that we built parking lots that are being utilized by soccer folks that own an indoor soccer and outdoor soccer next door to our property. So we're more than willing to meet with you or any group about any sort of partnership. And I just want to, I guess I need to say, the city, in working with Kaza Azafran, has just purchased property next to their community center, and then we're going to work with them about developing it into a park next to the community center. And I think that probably falls in line with exactly what you asked, that we work with different groups to provide specific needs for their community and for their group.
And to answer your question about the English teaching English in the centers, we do provide, we've got numerous spaces like this, and we provide, we don't have the expertise to teach it, but we provide the space for the classes and stuff. And we'd love to have that come to the community centers. We have numerous places around the city that we can provide space for the classes to teach English.
Yes.
First of all, I want to commend you guys for doing a great job. I've been in Nashville, came at the age of 24. And, but I heard you say that you create a common pact based upon the Hispanic community that live around that area. Now, I'm interested in District 26, hopefully where I'm going to run as a council member. And the park there, I don't know how you'll maintain that park. And also, there's no community center for that, District 26. And what needs to be done to get some of those community center in District 26, and also to maintain the park. As I said earlier, a lot of new immigrants live there. There's a lot of Kurdish community live in the area. I went from door to door yesterday throughout this week. So what needs to be done to maintain this?
All right, well, let me tell you what's going on right now. And I think, again, what you're talking about is participating in the process. We're getting ready to update our master plan that we initiated in 2001. We're getting ready to, we have an RFP at the purchasing department to hire a firm to come in and hold public meetings to assess the further needs of the various different individual communities inside Nashville. One of the things we have particularly talked on the RFP about is to determine with the space and with the amount of people in Nashville, how many community centers we should have, and if there are any other areas we should be moving into with our community centers. So that process will probably begin sometime after the election. We don't want to throw out community meetings that become politicized by candidates, but at the same time, we want to be able to ease the issues inside of the community, but we also want to address those type and answer those types of questions. But we're going to be updating our master plan, and that would be a good way to make the determination of where we need centers and how many do we actually need to have.
And also, I attended the mayor conference yesterday that is going to happen on Sunday, and I was there. And at City Academy, I think some of those issues, I'm going to try to ask some of these questions. What will be the positions maintaining the parks and recreation facility for seniors, not only seniors, for young people as well. As we're talking about soccer in that region, District 26, we got a lot of Latinos, Kurdish, Somalis, and most of the children grew up with soccer.
Yeah.
When you talk about football, when I came to the United States, they said football, I thought we were going to play soccer. So, and those are some of the mayor candidates here as the mayor academy. We need to be asking those questions when we go to those things to make sure they stay on focus.
In the mayoral forums and things like that are going on now, a lot of the questions or a lot of the candidates appear to be very interested in improving the park situation. I think this is one thing that particularly of note in the present administration, Mayor Dean's administration. This has been a big focus by this administration with the expansion of our parks and the number of parks and the amount of communities that we're in now that we weren't in. Cities across the country are struggling with keeping up with the demand and struggling with that change. Like I was talking earlier, as we move from softball fields to soccer fields. And this has been something that's been a major priority with Mayor Dean. Hopefully, whoever gets elected to follow him will keep it. It'd be tough for them to make it as big a priority as he did, but we hope that they do.
All right, you all, we are going to stop things here because we've got Steve Bland, who runs our transit authority here, but Tommy and Sally, thank you all so much, and thank you for everything.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys, I should note too, the clock on the wall is a couple minutes slow. So we have a lot of meetings in here and they always run just a couple minutes over. So we're going to try to keep it to the actual time and not the time on the clock. So I am going to start by introducing Steve Bland, who is the CEO of the Metro Transit Authority.
Good morning.
And so Steve, and I should say that so the part of my job that does not involve immigrants and refugees and the Mayor's Office of New Americans largely involves transit. So I work with Steve, used to be on a daily basis, and now it's more on a weekly basis, but I can attest personally to what a great transit director he is. And he's done this his whole career. He's led transit agencies in Pennsylvania and in New York, and now he's been here since August. So he's coming up on a 1-year anniversary, I guess, and we're just really glad that he's here and he's going to come talk to you all about all the things that we're doing for transit in Nashville. So welcome, Steve, and thank you for being here. And I should also note, sorry, Steve, Eric Pryor is here as well. And Eric does a lot of community and Metro Council outreach for the MTA. And he's going to be with us all day, and he's a really great partner for us. So welcome, Steve.
Good morning, everybody, and thank you, Shauna. It's really a pleasure to be here. When I first come to Nashville and learned about MyCity Academy, I think it's a tremendous program. So congratulations to all of you for participating, and thank you for learning more about what Metro government does. I wanted to cover a few items with respect to transit and the MTA. First of all, if you're following public issues in Nashville now, and probably for the last couple of years, transit is a hot issue. Frankly, it was one of the things that made me kind of intrigued about Nashville. Wanted to talk some about the current state of transit. Maybe some of you are transit riders. Maybe some of you would like to be transit riders. Maybe some of you used to be transit riders. Those are the folks I'd especially like to talk to. We're going to talk about some recent and pending initiatives. Over the last 7+ going on 8 years that Mayor Dean's been in office, frankly, I don't think you'd find a mayor who's in the country who's been more supportive of public transit, and an awful lot of initiatives and an awful lot of resources being put into that effort, and I wanted to touch base on some of that. And finally, I wanted to touch base on and offer an invitation to you. This is really an important time to become informed and involved on this topic, because on the heels of the Nashville Next comprehensive planning process, the MTA and also the Regional Transportation Authority of Middle Tennessee, which I'll kind of talk about in a little bit, are embarking on a strategic planning process. And our goal is to get at least 10,000 people in the region engaged in that conversation. And certainly folks who are involved in civic affairs the way that you are through things like MyCity Academy, are really going to be crucial for us. So I'll have some information on that process and how you can get involved. If you haven't already, we've got 2,000 people to date, so maybe some of you have participated. So the first slide I have is, why is transit such a hot issue? Why is it always in the news? Why are the mayoral candidates talking about it? Earlier this week, we had a forum for some of the Metro Council candidates. We had awesome turnout, and we went way over time, not because I was too slow, but because the questions were just nonstop. So, and that's a really good thing. Well, it's a hot issue because you all say it is. And a couple of things point to that. As Nashville Next went through their multi-year planning process, transit, mobility, congestion, those types of issues came up time and time again, and essentially finished in the top 3 of issues that are important to people in Nashville. Here in Middle Tennessee, we have a regional mayor's caucus. Mayor Dean's on that caucus. A number of the surrounding mayors are. And finding a long-term funding strategy for public transportation has been identified by that group as a top priority of the mayors. Recently, the Greater Nashville Chamber of Commerce announced their Moving Millions initiative, an effort for the business community to try to support a significantly stepped-up level of effort in the public transit area. And in their polling of business leadership, it's coming up in the top 2 issues. And then finally, you see it, I guess there's going to be a well-televised mayoral candidates debate tonight. Boy, if transit doesn't come up in that debate, I think most of us are going to be really shocked. I expect it'll come up early, it'll come up often. I can't wait to watch. I'm going to have a bowl of popcorn in my easy chair myself, taking notes. A couple of things that, where everybody's sensing it, I tend to go back to the data when we look at a lot of things. This information comes out of a report. If you haven't seen it, I would encourage you to go online and get a copy of it. It's the Vital Signs report that was put out by the Nashville Area Metropolitan Planning Organization in conjunction with the Greater Nashville Chamber of Commerce. And I don't tend to I get chastised by our board of directors when I read slides to them, so I'm not going to read the slides. What it's really saying is, with the growth in our city and the way that we've historically been designed, traffic congestion, fuel use, auto use, all of those things associated with keep climbing up the charts. During the heart of when Shauna referred to, by the way, I think in the mayor's office what they do is they give each staff person, okay, you can pick a topic you really want to deal with, and you can pick a topic that nobody else wants. So for her really want to deal with issue, she got New Americans, and the topic nobody else wanted.
I'll never tell you that.
Well, when she referred to, we used to talk on a daily basis, that tended to be during the heart of the AMP debate. And I came in the middle of that. I started in August, about halfway through the Citizens Advisory Committee process. And I was invited to lunch by a Stop AMP person. He says, I'm going to bring a friend with me who's very pro-AMP.
What's the AMP, Steve?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, always ask questions. The AMP is and was, I guess, intended to be a bus rapid transit project running between East Nashville through downtown out to West Nashville as far as St. Thomas Hospital. I'll touch on bus rapid transit a little bit in the initiatives, but essentially it was an effort to have significantly improved service, significantly improved infrastructure, did call for dedicated lanes, and anytime you're kind of allocating space in streets, that becomes a very controversial issue. So it was a controversial project. In the course of that lunch, I didn't really say much. I listened to the two friends kind of debate the pros and the cons of the AMP. And the person who was against the AMP said, you know what, I don't know what we need this thing for. Nashville's a 20-minute town. You can be anywhere, from anywhere to anywhere in 20 minutes. And the Pro-Am friend said, yep, but 10 years ago it was a 15-minute town. What's it going to be 10 years from now? So that's a lot of the effort, frankly, going into our strategic planning process. It's a regional issue. You know this as travelers. Commuters do not respect jurisdictional boundaries. Those little blue signs that we see when we cross city and county lines, welcome to Nashville, Davidson County, welcome to Murfreesboro, they're kind of nice, but I don't think anybody has ever come to one of those signs and said, whoa, I can't go further than this. And that is absolutely reflected in our region, frankly, more than most. Half the people who live in Middle Tennessee work in a different county than they reside in. So transit, mobility, transportation, not just a Nashville issue, it certainly extends through the 9 or 10 county region. This kind of points out that conversation between those two friends really vividly. The area in black, map centered on downtown Nashville. In 2010, during peak hour, in 15 minutes, the black area is how far you could get. Based on the current projection, in 2040, the red area is how far you'll be able to get. Two things happen with the projections we have of increasing population. Davidson County is projected to grow by 200,000 people and 300,000 jobs in the next 25 years. Frankly, I've talked to some people in the business community who think that's a low estimate. The region, the 9-10 county region, is projected to grow by 1 million people in the next 25 years. Two things happen. Things get slower, as reflected by that map, and the period that it's slow spreads out. So if you're commuting today from Murfreesboro into downtown Nashville, at 8 o'clock in the morning, you have a long, slow trek. If you do it at 10:30 in the morning, probably not too bad. If any of you are from cities or have been to cities like Los Angeles or Chicago or New York, you will know that rush hour is more like rush day. Rush hour in Los Angeles tends to start about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, pretty much runs all the way through 8 o'clock, 8:30 at night. So those are the issues we're attempting to deal with. I mentioned earlier we have the MTA and the RTA. The MTA, which is most of the buses you see around the city, including the Music City Circuit, the little green and purple bus that goes around, the free bus that runs around downtown. Nashville MTA, Metropolitan Transit Authority, is specifically targeted in Davidson County. We are run by a 5-member board of directors appointed by the mayor of Nashville and confirmed by the Metro Council. So it's specifically targeted at Nashville and Davidson County. We operate fixed route bus service, so the city buses that you see around the community, including the circuit. We also operate the Access Ride door-to-door service, predominantly for persons with disabilities. Overall ridership is growing. Access Ride ridership is growing 4 times faster than our regular ridership. So it's an incredibly popular service, and it's getting more popular every day. We operate service at the MTA through 650 employees. Our annual operating budget is about $70 million. Just over half of that amount is coming from Metro Nashville government. About 23% of our budget comes from operating income like passenger fares, advertising, parking in this building, buy a cup of coffee at Dunkin' Donuts, please, and a part of that will go to help support your bus ride. As an example, so those types of things. We also get funding through the Tennessee Department of Transportation and the United States Department of Transportation. Every day, about 33,000 trips are taken on the MTA system, including Access Ride, which sounds like a lot, is a lot, pretty small fraction of overall travel within the region. It's something that we absolutely want to grow and has been growing over the last 10 years. We operate a fleet of 266 buses total, 166 that we operate in the city bus service and 100 in Access Ride. The RTA is a little bit of a different animal. The Regional Transportation Authority is responsible primarily for the inter-county service in the 9-county area. The Music City Star, if any of you who have ever seen or ridden on the commuter train that runs between Lebanon and Nashville down at Riverfront Station, is owned and operated by the RTA. Mayor Dean sits on the RTA board, as do 27 regional mayors, 8 governors' appointees, and a TDOT representative. And actually, the RTA does not have any employees. The RTA contracts for its management and administration through the MTA. So I serve as the CEO of both the MTA and the RTA. Eric is the Community Relations Director for the MTA and the RTA, et cetera, et cetera. And for service, the RTA contracts with the MTA for some bus service, contracts with Gray Line of Tennessee for some bus service, and contracts with a company called Transportation Services Group Incorporated to actually operate the Music City Star, the commuter railroad. Annual budget of the RTA is quite a bit smaller. It's about $9.5 million annually. Ridership is quite a bit lower than the MTA, but longer trips. The average MTA passenger is riding the bus about 6 or 7 miles. The average RTA customer is riding in the 20 to 30 mile range. So even though they are a lower number of trips, they are longer trips. And the RTA service is almost exclusively commuter-oriented. Service operates during the peak hours, pretty much bringing people into Nashville in the morning and out of Nashville to the outlying counties in the afternoon. This shows you the ridership trends. We started about 10 years ago at about just under 7 million rides per year. We're now up just passing the 10 million mark. That continues to increase. So up about 45% over the last 10 years or so, which is a good trend. It's a national trend where we've been up about, say, 4.5% a year. The national trend is to be up about 2 to 2.5%. So Nashville's certainly exceeding the trend, and we'd obviously like to see that continue. Coming back to the last 7 or 8 years under Mayor Dean, tracks pretty well. Really beginning with the start of his administration, we've seen continuing investments in service expansion and new services, and that has obviously helped lead to the ridership increase that we've experienced in Nashville, particularly in certain corridors. And I'll touch on those in a second. So who rides first of all, anybody in this room a regular rider, ride occasionally? Oh, okay. No, one. Oh, shame on you all. Well, I believe Eric's going to take you out for an experience, and Eric promises me your experience after this meeting is going to be so delightful that we'll be signing you up for all sorts of trips in the future. So in case you were wondering, gee, I see those buses, who rides them? This is a profile based on our most recent comprehensive rider survey. Excuse me. In public transit, there tends to be a conversation about what we call choice riders and dependent riders. A dependent rider is somebody, when you ask the question, hey, if this service weren't available to you, how would you take your trip? The answer tends to be, I wouldn't take my trip. I don't have a car, I don't own a car, I can't drive a car, I can't afford a car. Maybe I have a disability or I'm too young to drive, or whatever the case might be. Literally dependent riders, if it weren't for the MTA or bus service or what have you, and it's too far to walk, walking might be the other option. They have no other choice. Choice riders are people, when you ask them that question, say, well, if I didn't have the bus or the Music City Star, I'd drive. I own a car, I have a car, I could afford it. This is more convenient, or I save money, or whatever the other consumer-based reasons there are. About half of our trips are for work, back and forth to work. So when you saw in that ridership trend, you saw back in 2009, 2010, ridership really dropped like a rock, very much related to the recession. When people aren't working, people aren't riding. So there's a very direct correlation. So when we talk about growth of service and the need for expanded transit in Davidson County, we're looking at two things in the future trends. 200,000 more people for sure, 300,000 more jobs, potentially even a bigger factor into transit demand. Reading down, frequent riders define pretty much people are using it every day, once or twice a day. We have what we would call power users who are using it for everything, 4, 5, 6 trips a day, which is pretty incredible. And what I found a couple of things interesting here is almost a quarter of our riders just started riding within the last year. Now, on the one hand, and I think it's really relevant to what you all are doing in the MyCity Academy, and as we have a lot of people moving into the area. So I tend to be, and Eric and the rest of our staff would tell you, I'm kind of a glass is half empty kind of guy. So I look at that number and say, wow, that's great. A quarter of our ridership is brand new and they're starting to use our service. On the other hand, our ridership isn't going up 24% a year. So if we got 24% new riders and we're going up 4, 5, 6% a year, that means we have a lot of people who rode last year aren't riding this year for a variety of reasons. And that's something that I think as we're going through our planning process, we'll be working on quite a bit. Another key issue when I talk about public transit in any community, and certainly in Nashville, it isn't just about the transit system. It's about the entire trip that you take. From your home to wherever it is you're going, that's an experience. Whether you're driving, you're taking transit, you're riding a bicycle, you're walking, we have to look at the entire experience, and that next figure down there really points that out. 85%, an overwhelming majority of our riders walk to get to transit service, so a minimal number of park and ride, and most of those are coming, 2/3 of those are coming from within a quarter mile. So when we talk about, well, how do we get more people to ride transit in Nashville? Obviously improved service is a component, but so are things like more sidewalks and easier pedestrian crossings and those types of issues. And you can see the figure on household incomes. Thing that struck me here is, and again, for me, an opportunity for us to expand ridership bases, only about 3% of our riders are over the age of 65. That is extremely low compared to national standards. So as we're going forward in our planning, we're specifically engaging with the senior citizen community. So what is it about the service that we could do to make it more attractive to you from a mobility perspective? And just to, a lot of people say, well, how much transit service should Nashville have? And the answer to that question is that's really up to all of us to decide collectively. This is not intended to say, well, we absolutely need more. It just gives you sort of a frame of reference as to how we compare on a per capita basis to other, what I would call comparable cities. If I threw a New York City or a San Francisco or a Boston up there, you wouldn't even be able to see the rest of us on the chart. They have so much service, but in terms of relatively comparable cities, that's sort of where we sit. A few of the initiatives going on now, and I really have to, and I promise you, Shauna, I do these slides in all my presentations, not just the ones where the mayor's office is here. But I do think that they point out really the leadership that Mayor Dean and his administration's had on the transit issue with some of these efforts. One of our more recent initiatives is the STRIDE program, Student Ridership Initiative. It's a partnership with Metro Government, Metro Nashville Public Schools, and the MTA. Every high school student in the Metro Nashville Public School system, their student ID card is automatically a bus pass. They can ride, and they're not just limited to riding to school, they can use it for anything. So we obviously have kids going to school, back and forth to school. We have them going to extracurricular activities. We have them going to after-school jobs. We have them going to, downtown events, what have you. And particularly in a school choice model, and I've certainly talked to the school district folks about this, if you can't have every program in your neighborhood school and you need to get to a different part of the city, it becomes extremely expensive for the school district to try to yellow bus everybody around. So it's an efficiency issue for Metro Nashville Public Schools to more effectively use their transportation resource. Almost 20% of all Metro Nashville Public School students, high school students now, are regular riders of public transit, whether it's for school or extracurriculars or what have you. So if any of your kids are riding to school, have them teach you how to do it. It's not that hard. And our overall youth ridership is up about 11.5% since the initiative started. So certainly something that we're interested in. From the school district's perspective, it's a good efficiency measure. Obviously, from the mayor's perspective, it's a hugely positive program. From my purely selfish and parochial perspective, we are helping to teach future transit riders how to get used to it. So when they graduate from high school and they have to surrender that free pass, hopefully they'll keep riding with us. But even if they don't, they know how to use it. If there are folks in this room who have never used public transportation, I would tell you you're in an extremely tough market to crack. But if you have used it, if you lived in another city and used it, or if you used it at a younger age, all of a sudden that mystery barrier goes away, and that's one of the things that's important about it to us. Easy Ride program is our employer sponsorship program. You can see some of the prominent organizations and companies that participate. About 20% of our riders now are enrolled in the Easy Ride program, and essentially it's varying levels of employer subsidy of transit trips. So these employers have decided that it is in my best interest as an employer to give my employees better commuting options. So if you see your employer's logo up there and you're not taking advantage of it, you might want to check into it. And if you don't see your employer's logo up there, you might want to ask them about it. And Eric would be happy to entertain their inquiries. Finally, touching back on the Bus Rapid Transit stuff, Bus Rapid Transit, what we call Bus Rapid Transit Light. I'm going to be honest and tell you that I think it's a horrible name. I told that to the board of directors when they interviewed me, and they hired me anyway. So I think maybe some or most of them agree with me. The idea behind Bus Rapid Transit and the AMP project was what I'll call a higher level version of it is, rail transit is extremely expensive to build and operate, light rail, subway, what have you. The idea behind Bus Rapid Transit is how can we make the bus look, feel, and act as much like a train as we possibly can for a fraction of the cost. And there's a whole bunch of things that you can do that really move in that direction. The BRT Light that we currently operate in Gallatin Pike Corridor, Murfreesboro Pike Corridor, we recently launched in the Charlotte Corridor. Essentially the pieces that it has, and I would call it on the lower end of BRT, is it's skip-stop service, so it stops less frequently. It operates more frequently than standard service. It operates about every 15 minutes. You can see from the inset picture the stations. You may have seen them around town. It's a little bit upgraded. It's got more amenities, digital information, the information kiosks with route maps and schedules and that sort of thing. You see the three that are operating currently, and we are currently planning in planning stages for Nolensville Pike service to be initiated next year. The last initiative I'll touch on is our automatic vehicle location real-time information system. When I speak to groups, one question I can absolutely count on is when am I getting an app? When am I going to be able to, on my smartphone, know exactly when my bus is coming? And the direct answer to the question is by the end of this calendar year. We're currently installing an automatic vehicle location, satellite-based positioning system that will give us access to instantaneous information about wherever vehicle in our system is. That software correlates to schedule so that you would be able to, on an app like that, and that is a shameless plug for my favorite app. There are dozens of them out there, though. Actually, you can use that app today to do trip planning information in Nashville. Today it's based on schedule information. By the end of the year, it'll be based on where the bus actually is. So that information would tell you, well, the bus is due at your stop at 10:45, but he's running 3 minutes late. It's going to be there about 10:48, and that's continually updated through the day. Important benefit for customers. For us, it's going to do a couple things. First of all, we're basically going to get 100% information on things like schedule adherence and passenger counts. So our planning folks will know this bus is consistently running late at this point, this time of day. They can adjust schedules accordingly. This bus is consistently overcrowded these times of day, and we need to put extra service out at those times of day. And that's in the planning realm. In the real-time realm, our radio operators will see when buses are getting hung up or there's exceptions, and they'll be able to do real-time interventions like slip extra buses into service. So if you're riding on the Nolensville route, it's running late, got stuck at the train crossing, and the train, as we are more frequently experiencing now, is stopped in the middle of the street, and that bus is going to be 15 minutes late. We can throw an extra bus in. It doesn't help you if you're stuck on that bus, stuck at the crossing, but if you're waiting down here for the next trip, it would help an awful lot to get it back on schedule. The last thing I wanted to mention, hopefully I have a couple minutes for questions anyway, is our 2015 strategic plan. The goal of the plan, well, the goal of the public engagement piece of the plan is to engage a minimum of 10,000 Nashvillians. When I said that to our staff at the outset of the process, it was, oh my God, that's not possible. How are we going to do that? As they've gotten into it, now they're saying we can do way better than that. We expect those numbers to be considerably higher. We're pretty early in the process. Some of you may have been involved up to this point. So far, we've had about 2,000 people engaged, whether it's through public meetings we've had or online and social media type surveys. And also a little bit more creatively, you see the bus down there in the lower right-hand corner. We basically stripped the seats out of a regular bus. We put that paint scheme on it. We stuck workstations in it and easel boards in it. We've got tablet type things. So we can go to your church, we can go to your neighborhood association meeting, we can go to your neighborhood festival. We were at the Earth Day celebration in Centennial Park and engage in those conversations. This gives you a brief overview of the process. We'll be going on through the rest of this year, hopefully finishing up first quarter 2016 with some recommendations. And we would very much, if you take nothing else out of this presentation, besides ride the bus would be item 1. Item 2 is please get engaged with us in this, even if you've never ridden transit, anywhere, or if you've ridden it in New York or you've ridden it somewhere else. Please get engaged. Please sign up for email alerts. We're going to be doing follow-up surveys. The information is there. And this will continue to unfold through the year. So please get involved in the process. And if you know, hey, I would love to, I'm involved in my neighborhood association and we're having an event, at the end of June, can you send the bus out? Please give us a call and let us know about that. So with that, that's the information I have. So.
Great. And Steve, I know you have to go to another meeting too, but let's take maybe 3 or 4 minutes for questions and then we'll let Steve go.
Yes, ma'am.
Are there any parking areas available for bus riders?
There are, and if you go to our website, which is nashvillemta.org, there is, in the services section, you'll see park and ride locations, so it'll tell you where those are. Eric, do you remember offhand about how many park and rides we have?
We have about a dozen or so that are official, but that's something that we're always looking to add more. So if you have relationships with a particular shopping facility or an area where we can establish a formal lot, that's something we're always looking at to connect transit service to.
I have no doubt that a recommendation out of the plan was you need to expand park and ride capacity. Because again, when we're saying, well, if you're going to walk, and most people are only going to walk a quarter mile, we need more of those options out there for sure. Yes, ma'am.
Do you have Wi-Fi on all the buses?
No, not yet. We're getting ready to. It will be a technological piece where we're kind of knocking them down one at a time. We have a fairly limited IT staff. So the AVL project is hot right now. We are in the process of installing Wi-Fi on the Music City Star commuter train, so we're hoping to have that within the next few months. And then phasing in those types of amenities, on most of our services over time. The other technological innovation or customer fronting innovation, I'd say, that we're taking a hard look at is mobile ticketing and easier ways of fare payment and that type of thing. So kind of want to get I want to make sure the app is working right. I've heard so much about it that frankly, if it's not working right, I know I'm going to hear a lot more about it.
What's the name of the app? I couldn't see.
Oh, that particular app is just called Transit. It's a commercial third-party app. People ask me about our app. We will have an app. Our software vendor has a standard app. The honest truth is these things are changing so quickly, and it's all open data. So our data, our live data, is going to be available to any developer. So there's a lot of them out there. And the nice thing about ones like that Transit app is you'll be able to use it here, you'll be able to use it in San Francisco, you'll be able to use it in Boston or New York or most other cities that use the Google Transit feed interface. Yes, ma'am.
Is the National MTA entire whole private? Is any part of it private?
Right. No, it's actually it's a public authority. It's a component unit of Metro Nashville government. It's an independent authority, kind of like MDHA or the Airport Authority. We do, because of some pretty, you don't have an hour and it's not a legal seminar, we do have, our employees actually work for a private subsidiary called Davidson Transit Organization, set up as a 501c3, so it's a private nonprofit, just because some conflicts between Tennessee law and federal law. But essentially, we are a public agency. Yes, ma'am.
So you said it's free for the high school student. How about the middle school student?
No, at this point, not yet. We're back and forth with the school district. There's very much an interest to try to expand the the Stride program to middle school on a voluntary basis. So in other words, what I would say is pretty much any normally matured high school kid should have no problem riding public transit. Pretty much any, and I tend to look at my son when I go, and he's 20 now, I'm going on 20. So as a high school student, no problem, he rode public transit. As an elementary school student, no way would I have him, without me being there. Middle school, it really varies. An 8th grader of a certain maturity, no problem. A 6th grader, not quite ready. So what we're trying to work toward is an issue where parents could voluntarily say, yeah, I would like to participate in that. Not ready for prime time just yet. We're continuing to talk to the district, and they're in a leadership transition now too. So I'm sure those conversations are going to be ongoing. But as a parent, if that's a thing you have an interest in, let us both know. And that would certainly help. We definitely take that kind of input and that feedback. Even if you do it through our planning process, it would be very valuable.
Maybe one more question.
Yes, sir.
I feel like since Nashville is a much smaller city, there's a lot more people, just taking cabs to go downtown, or like an Uber or a Lyft. I feel like the public transport could be more readily available for people, and by that I mean, to start off with, let's say there's a July 4th fireworks or the New Year's Eve celebration.
Right.
If you have special buses like in and around areas where there are a lot of people gathering to do some stuff, then I feel like instead of them taking a cab or like an Uber or Lyft, which is not great to find like during events like this, they can ride the bus more, and it's that's like their first bus ride, because there are going to be a lot of people who, like you said, are the choice riders, and they probably would just take any other kind of transport to go there. So.
That your observation sounds pretty precisely like a conversation Shauna and I had maybe a month or two ago. I couldn't agree with you more, and that's frankly a big part of the planning process. And by the way, when we talk about choice riders, or for that matter, dependent riders, even in New York City, nobody rides transit. Well, I should nobody. Most people don't ride transit 100% of the time. So to your example, well, maybe it's not convenient for me to go back and forth to work or do my shopping, but boy, to go to a Titans game or come downtown for, 4th of July fireworks, it would really save a lot of aggravation. And those are the types of markets we're looking at trying to identify. Music City Star, as an example, runs special service for 4th of July fireworks. We're at the point where we have to sell the train tickets in advance. We run a 7-car train, which holds over 1,000 people, and they sell out a week in advance. So I couldn't agree with your comment more.
Well, thank you so much, and please join me in thanking the community.
Thank you all.
Thank you also for giving us this space, and it's giving us bus rides, and it's providing the donuts, so we really are so grateful for everything that you do. Thank you. Thank you. So we are so grateful that Abogani Bari and Luz Bin from Nashville Social Services are here. And they're going to talk some about what social services is and what it does for our community. So Abogani, whose name I'm butchering, and so I'm going to call him AB, has been here in Nashville for 21 years. He went to grad school in economics at Vanderbilt. And what he does, and he's going to tell you more about this, is but really assess the needs of the community and figure out what programs social services needs to do to meet those needs, right? And Luz Bin is a social worker who is originally from Peru, and she has been here since 2000, and she does a lot of one-on-one counseling with clients who are Nashville residents. So I am going to turn things over to them, and hopefully at the end we'll have a few minutes to take questions.
Thank you, Shana. Good morning.
Good morning.
As Shana mentioned, I'm Abdel Ghani. I'm with the Department of Social Services. I've been there for about 21 years, I think, yes. And in Nashville, I've been almost 26 years now. So the Department of Social Services is one among many departments of Metro government. Actually, it was founded in 1954, but at the time it used to be called the Welfare Commission. But when Nashville became a Metro government, that's when the county and the city merged it to have just one administration and one mayor, that's when we became Metropolitan Social Services. As far as governance, it's governed by a board of commissioners, 7 people nominated by the mayor and approved by the council. That means the executive director of social services, the mayor cannot fire the director. That means it's the commissioner that the mayor puts that trust, and they are the ones who have the authority to hire and fire a director. So there are few metro department heads that the mayor nominates directly, like the police chief, personnel, legal director, finance director. Those come with the mayor and they go with the mayor. But some other departments like social services, it's the commission that does that. So we have 3 programs. One is called Direct Services, and my colleague Luz will speak about it. The other one is something that I do, which is called Planning and Coordination. We're a team of 5 people. And then there is the Homelessness Commission, who deal with all about homelessness issues in Nashville. Having said that, the unit that I work with, it's called Planning and Coordination. What does it do? We know that part of our responsibility as a department is to look after the low-income families that cannot afford to do things on their own. People who cannot pay the rent, people who have challenges in paying their utility bills, and people who need case management issues. But the other thing that we do is we profile the county. I know that some of you hear the word profile. Some minorities don't like that. You know, like the police profiles blacks. They go into an area and then they give tickets, like the Hispanics, blacks. It's not that kind of profiling. Or the one that FBI does, that Muslims, they say we get profiled. No, that's not the one. What we try to do is look at the demographics of the county and the socio-economic issues that happen in Nashville. And what we use is basically the census numbers that come from the United States Census Bureau and some numbers that come from what we call 211. There's a number that you can call here. And we gather the information. So what did we find? In 2013, that's the numbers. Those are the latest we have. About 18% of the people who live in Nashville, they live under the poverty level. There is a poverty threshold set by the federal government. If you're a single individual, it's like 12,000 something. For a family of 4, it's a little over $24,000 a year. Also, we found out that in Nashville, if you are under the age of 18, 1/3 of those people, they live under the poverty level. So if you look at people in Nashville and you see people that live in poverty, 1/3 of them happen to be under the age of 18. They are very young. If you are a single parent, especially a single mother, and you have children in the household, those people account 40% of the poor people in Nashville. So if you look at people that are poor in Nashville, 4 out of 10 are single mothers. That's the other number that we share. 8% of the people in poverty in Nashville are 65 years and older. They are seniors. So in our profile, who is more likely to be poor? Let me make it simple. In 2013, there are about 658,000 people living in Nashville and Davidson County. Of those, 117,000 people, that's 18%, they live under the poverty. So if you look at Nashville, and there are 658,000 people running in the city, 117,000 of those people are poor. Well, every big city has poor people. So if you want to know then the profile, who is poor in Nashville? It's more likely to be someone who is under the age of 18. A single mother, a person who doesn't have a high school diploma. That means that if you have high school diploma and higher, you have a better chance of making an income that will take you out of the poverty level. You have less than high school diploma and you drop out, there is more likely that you become poor. If you are foreign born, I'm sure many people in this room, including myself and Luz, were born in a foreign country. Foreign born individuals and families in Nashville has a more likely chance to be poor. And that's normal. If you come as a refugee or you left everything back home because of civil conflict, you don't bring gold and money with you. I mean, if you bring your own life, you're lucky. So that's not an insult, but that's the truth. I mean, you may be a well-educated, highly functioning person in your country, but you come in Nashville because of civil war, you bring nothing. And it's more likely you are a minority, either black or Hispanic. There is more chance to be poor in that category. In the section that I deal with, it's about workforce. Workforce is people that are either working or looking for a job. If you're not any of those and you decide to stay home, you're not counted. So that's why we say unemployment is always about the people that are either seeking employment or are employed. That's workforce participation. So in Nashville, who is going to be unemployed, more likely to be unemployed? It's easy. If you are a minority, especially African Americans. In 2013, unemployment rate among African Americans was 10%. Whites were about 5 point something. Hispanic was less than that, actually. So if you are more likely, and why is that, if you are black, to be unemployed? Well, as we know that, because of segregation and all kind of things, if you look at the public system out there, justice system, people coming out of prisons, they are more likely to be young and black men. And once you have that record, felony record, it becomes very difficult for any company to open their doors and say, come on and work here. So that's a challenge that we see. And there's a high dropout rate in the black community. So it's more likely that if you are black to be unemployed in Nashville. Who else? If you have less than high school diploma, it's more likely that you become unemployed. If you have disability, people that have disability, whether it's about physical, mental, it's more likely to be unemployed if you have disability. If you are young, we're still talking about 18 and younger, it's more likely to be unemployed because we have a change in economy. Globalization is here, technological change is part of that. So what it does is that what? People old like myself, we stick to the same job. We never leave. Young people, when they come and job opportunities are shrinking, what are they going to do? You may be out of college and you work at Starbucks. You may have a high skill, but you may end up working at Walmart. So if you are young, it's more likely to be unemployed in Davidson County. I think that's a big picture of people that we deal in issues. However, so when those people come to our offices, what happens to them when they're seeking assistance? I let Luz handle that.
So what do I do, right? Well, thank you for having me here today. And after that depressing news, let me tell you that there is hope out there. First of all, I am so glad to be here today. I am from Lima, Peru, and I am so glad to see all faces of all friends. Not that you're all, but just a long time ago friends. Yeah, Latina power. Anyways. Okay, so I'm going to explain to you what Metro Social Services does. We decided that we're going to do a practical approach because I think it is important to let you know what to expect, what to do. In my country, when we are facing any challenges, either we go to our parents, our family members, our neighbors, we ask help to the people, we try to find help within the people that we know. We are so blessed here. Not that we have the solution to every single problem, but we have Metro Social Services. A lot of people confuse Metro Social Services with the Department of Human Services. So let me just clarify that. The Department of Human Services is the department that provides the food stamps, maybe the Medicaid, TakeCare. That is the Department of Human Services. The Department of Social Services are the ones that provide certain assistance for certain needs. So I'm going to go through my flyer, and I hope that you keep it right here. We are in the heart of downtown in 2nd Avenue North, and we are strategically placed besides the Department of Children's Services and the Department of Human Services. So you can access all of these services in one area, okay? So we work with family support services. What is family support? Well, you know, sometimes when you don't know what to do, you know, you are facing a domestic violence situation, you don't have a job, you know, nobody in your family understands you, you don't know where to begin. You can go to Metro Social Services and at the front say, I need to speak to a social worker. Sometimes you just need to talk to somebody that will work with you in trying to solve your problems or needs. Like I said at the beginning, I cannot guarantee that we will have a solution for everything. I don't have money. But I can guide you into how to solve your situation one-on-one. And that one-on-one is case management, okay? So that's what family support does. Also, we do some trainings and we link you to resources that are in Metro or that are Metro or, you know, private nonprofit resources out there. That's what we do with family services. Burial assistance. Nobody's planning to die tomorrow. I didn't wake up today, but it might happen. Okay, so dying is expensive. Not for the person that died, but for the person that is alive. Okay, so I want you to answer this question. How much do you think it costs to bury somebody?
$20.
15,000 maybe?
I'm sorry?
From 10 to 15,000?
No.
20,000?
No.
From 6 to 7,000.
Okay, well, okay, do you have the money in the bank right now? No, right there. Good question. Okay, good answer, I'm sorry. Okay, no, it actually here, it surprises you when somebody dies and you are not prepared. You have to face not only the funeral services cost, but also the cemetery cost. Now, if you don't want to bury somebody, then you want to cremate them, right? That's an additional cost. So it varies. It can be from $5,000 or so. Now, being a foreigner and being a Latina, I have a lot of Mexican customers, and they would like to ship the body back home. Right? Okay, well, we are lucky to have an embassy here in Atlanta that will help with the process, but still the money will have to come from the person that is the next of kin. So it still is expensive. Okay, that can go into that $10,000s of dollars like you were mentioning. So in Davidson County, if a person receive, did not have a life insurance or earns less than $1,200 and the family members were not prepared, and they died and lived in Davidson County, they can come to our office and then can fill out an application so we can assist. We have a contracted cemetery, and maybe the funeral services will not be all the funeral services that we would like, but it will be honorable, and it will be a good service, but it's completely free, okay? So that will be with the fair burial services. We also have a nutrition services for the seniors, okay? A senior is a person that is 65 or older, okay? So some people live alone, or some people are disabled and they are not able to cook their meals anymore. You know, when you get older, you just don't want to cook anymore. Well, that is my case, but, I still am able. So Metro Social Services offer nutrition program to seniors that are not able to cook their own meals. We want to make sure that at least they get one meal a day. So we have people that every day take their meals to their home. There is a process, and I'm going to talk to you about processes because we all have processes in Metro. Long processes, but it can be done. Okay, so we have that service too, and we do it gladly. Then, homeless. Abigandi was telling you what some people, why homeless? Most of the homeless population have mental illnesses, okay, that have not been treated, all right? Or they have substance abuse addictions. But then I can become homeless tomorrow. If I lose my job, I'm just fired, and I don't have any savings, it will be really hard for me to keep up with the mortgage on my own. So, there's always a chance that any of us can become homeless. So we have a unit that prevents homelessness. So when you know that you're going to be in this situation, you just go there and you say, this is what I have, this is my plan, and help me. I need to avoid this. So always be proactive. But the homeless unit works with the ones that are to prevent homelessness and are at risk of homelessness or are already homeless. There's another category, and the other category is chronically homeless. A person that is chronically homeless is the one that has been living in a shelter for more than 2 years, or they have experienced homelessness, being housed, then homeless again, then being housed, and so on. It's a pattern in life. So we're trying to work with them into getting into the rehoused and also wraparound services because there might be a mental issue there, okay? We have also different partnerships with different Metro divisions, like, for example, Metro School. We have a partnership with the HERO program. That is, the HERO program assists families that are homeless or going from relatives to friends and relatives, but they help the children have the uniforms, have food. We link them to these services. Okay, we also have a collaboration with the courts. Right now, I am a part of a division called conservatorship. And what it is Judge Kennedy have, not contracted, but is collaborating with Metro Social Services, so we can go and talk to the conservator, and a conservator is that one that is caring for somebody that cannot take care of themselves and is an adult. Those people that have a disability, an intellectual disability, a developmental disability. So we go there and we visit their home, and we see that they are doing great. The one that is taking care of the person with a disability and the person with disability, we make sure that they are getting all the support that they need, okay? So now I'm going to talk to you about, I have 5 minutes. I want to talk to you about how to go and what is the process. And Metro likes processes, it's systems. Everything is a system. So when you go into any Metro division, especially Metro Social Services, you will go into our office and somebody will greet you and then ask for demographics. And the demographics are really important. Why? Because they will turn into numbers. So, so then we can know how many people are in the city, what background, what race, what age, and so on. So you go through an intake. After you finish the intake, you meet with a social worker, and then we try to be friends. And I try to know all about your business. So, but there is a purpose for this. We worry about wellness, and we worry about legal issues. We worry about your mental issues, your medical issues. We try to find out if you have support, and all of these questions are to find out and learn more about your situation. In order for me to be able to help you, I need to know what you're going through. If you start hiding things from me, I cannot help you. But all of that getting to know you, get you to trust me, and really understand the situation takes time. So sometimes when you go to our office, you will be with us for 2 or 3 hours, bringing snacks. So, so it really, really takes a long time. But however, once you decided that you want to open a case with us, because that's a choice. You can just go and just ask for information and then learn about resources, and then you can leave. You never see me again. But you can go ahead and open a case, and then you have a social worker that will work with you, and you have to also be responsible to follow up with her every single month. There is help out there also for the ones that don't have transportation and are at home. I am giving you this information because you are able bodies and you are here. But what about those ones that are in their apartments and they cannot reach us? Well, they can call us, or they can call also 211, which is information and referral for Davidson County. Okay, so I have given you a brief description of what my departments do, and now I open to questions, just questions, anything you want to ask. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was very much interested to hear both of you talk about various systems, and I'm volunteer director for Islamic Funeral Homes, and you said that you guys have a contract with some graveyard or cemetery, but I don't have no contact from you guys with our cemetery or any system barrier. We have people who passed away, just no immigrant moved here, and they contact your office and nothing was done, and we have to do it for them. Okay. So how you got going to reach to me? This is my first time seeing this very system. If it happens, who I need to call, who I need to talk to, or what are the requirements that I need to know and give to those people?
Sure.
Because we don't charge. We provide assistance and logistics and graveyard various services. So what do we need to do? I need to tell them in case it's happening.
Sure. And you know what? You are absolutely right. Even residents of Davidson County, sometimes they don't even know that we're here. And they have been here forever, So you have a lot of advantage over them. And the thing is that I tell my customers, ask. Always ask. There will be somebody that have used our services before, and they will be able to give you the right information. Now, just to answer your question, yes, sir, we do contract funeral homes and we do contract cemeteries, but that is a process. You will have to call Carol Wilson. She is the director of that program, and she will be more than glad to guide you in the right direction. Anybody else? Yes.
What about you said you help the homeless. What about the homeless that are in transit? Because I've noticed I give out food to the homeless people, and they're in transit. They're not in Nashville. I don't know how long they're going to be in Nashville, but they really need help. Do I just give it?
They need help with what?
Mental.
Yeah, mental. And there is, the homeless clinic, and we can link them or, guide them into. It all depends if they want to be linked, because sometimes these individuals do not realize that there is something wrong, and this is just a style of life that they are accustomed to. So we really need to meet them where they are. I am not going to force them to do something that is right for me. I will talk to you and say, what do you want and what do you need? And after I get that answer, then I will be able to maneuver and see where I can contact them. But usually I work with the homeless clinic, or also the general hospital. They have an indigent program for people that do not have any insurance or money, so they will be able to assist them in that capacity. Yes?
So I think I was wanting to ask you about language barriers.
Yes.
And how do people contact a translator first?
Yes. And I'm so glad that you said that. We don't have language barriers in my apartment now. Well, we try not to. Well, I am the only Spanish speaker in the staff right now. But when somebody from another country comes, we have an interpreting line. And all the social workers have that number. It's magic. You just tell them, what language you communicate in, and then they will link you, and then we'll work with you in your language using an interpreter. It might take longer than a regular visit, so you will have to bring snacks and dinner, but it's okay. We can do it, okay? We don't have that problem.
About the real assistant, if we
Rental? You said rental?
Barrier.
Oh, barrier. Uh-huh.
If we have last month we have a person, he lost a member of his family, and during the less than a month, and he was just arrived to Nashville.
Oh.
Yeah, and he didn't have any. He didn't work. He don't know how to speak, and
Right.
and we have a graveyard. But still, we have to dig the grave, and we have to do a lot of things. And he should pay for that. But because of the reason of his, we collect the money. Is the burial assistant, they help with those things?
Not if you have already have a contract with a funeral home or a cemetery. This is, we have our own. So the system works in which you come to us and once you come to us for assistance, and you said something very important. He lived in Nashville. Lived, meaning that, I didn't ask you how long did he live in Nashville. He lived in Nashville and died in Nashville, and he didn't have any money. So he will be eligible for the program. However, we will need to use our contract funeral homes, our contract cemetery. If the family have already made an arrangement with a third party, then it will not be eligible.
The problem is because he's a Muslim, the religion has come there, and he has to be in this area.
It will have to be with Carol.
Well, I'm glad you brought up this. I happen also to be a Muslim and work for the department. Years ago, we discussed about that, but the Islamic burial system was not in a better situation as far as processes. But now that I know that it's well established, what we need to do is that we have to go through the system. It's not going to be a long process, but we have to include the Islamic burials, funeral service, whatever we call it, as part of the, and that's very important, because what we always do is that we try to accommodate all kinds of cultures and religions, because this is a government service. So, but it happened to be historical, just we had relationships with funeral homes that don't cater to Muslim. I understand, because it's a different ritual. So what I'm going to do is that maybe in next week or the week after, I'll invite you to come to the department and engage and start the process how the Muslim burial system can be.
We have a committee, we can
Right.
let the committee cover.
Right, some individual representing the group will be invited to the office, so I'll do that. Yes.
So we have to go catch a bus, everyone, so I want you to give a big bye.
All right, guys, we are going to go ahead and get started. I hope everybody enjoyed their slow-co lunch, and welcome to the Farmers Market. And I've got actually somebody who's far more qualified to welcome you than I am. Tasha Kennard is here. She is the director of the Nashville Farmers Market, and she has been here since January of 2014. Before that, she was at Second Harvest, which were a lot of you all were with us at Second Harvest for MyCity Connect recently. And Tasha, like a lot of folks that we've heard from today, is a native Nashvilleian, and she loves food, which I think is a really good quality in somebody who's running our farmers market. So I will turn it over to Tasha.
Thank you. I can refer to that a little bit while we talk. Good afternoon. How's everybody doing? Good. Great. Let me get him a map right before we get started. If that's okay. Well, welcome to the Nashville Farmers Market. I'm Tasha Kennard. I'm the director. I've been here since January of 2014. Our organization has 4 other employees, and we also operate under the consideration and service on behalf of the Nashville Farmers Market Board, which is 5 volunteers that are appointed by the mayor's office and confirmed by Metro Council. And we also have a group of interns that work with us throughout the year, and Jessica is here with us today. She's working with us this summer on our neighborhood market program, as well as supporting the administration of the Nashville Farmers Market.
So I'm going to give you a little bit of history about the Nashville Farmers Market, and then we'll talk about where we're at and what happens here at the facility. The Nashville Farmers Market was chartered to be a program and service of Metro government in the 1820s. And our market started on the courthouse steps. So farmers used to drive their wagons by horse to the downtown courthouse and sell their fruits and vegetables. And as you might imagine, that was a really romantic scene for the community of having these horse-drawn carriages brought into the center of downtown and making fruits and vegetables available to the community. And because that was such a great experience, it continued to grow throughout the course of the next several generations. And this is our 4th location in the city of Nashville. We have resided within the North Nashville community for most of our existence, other than our very first few years on the courthouse steps, and we've been in this facility since 1995. We're excited to be celebrating our 20th year in this facility this year. It embarks on a lot of great momentous change for our organization in this 20th year. We are coming into the first year of being financially self-sufficient as a Metro government program, which means that the fees that we collect from the merchants and vendors that participate here are going to be able to cover the expenses of our operations, which is something that this organization has been striving to do for a very long time. We are a market that supports not only local farmers, but regional farmers as well. As you might imagine, when we walk through the facility today, it is a very large facility. We're on 16 acres in the urban core of downtown Nashville. We're very blessed to be located right next to a beautiful park, Bicentennial Mall Park, and this project was part of the revitalization of this area when they established the park there. They also established this facility. So we do a lot of activities and events together. What you'll find on our property, and I'm going to refer a little bit to this map, it's a very easy guide because it is so large. You'll find that we work with a variety of different folks, not just local and regional farmers, but we're also home for a lot of small businesses, including craft and flea merchants, food artisans, restaurateurs, chefs, organizations that are working to improve the accessibility of fresh fruits and vegetables to at-risk communities, all find home here at the Nashville Farmers Market. And we're very, very proud of that. It makes us unique when you compare our farmers market to those across the country, because a lot of the farmers markets across the country either don't have a facility like we have that we're very proud of, or they don't have the type of programmatic approach that we take, where we work with more than just farmers in our community. So as you walk around the property today, you're going to be introduced to the different areas that those businesses do business in. But I'm going to kind of walk you through it now because it's hard to hear on a tour. We're currently in the Market House. The Market House is home to 19 restaurants and shops. 7 of those are new. We've added them since June of 2014. Sloco, whom I believe catered your lunch, is one of those new establishments. And our restaurants and shops celebrate a great diversity of menu offerings that we're very proud of, to live in a city that's so diverse, that the Farmers Market House is an opportunity for people to come and experience food from a variety of different cultures and different communities and learn more about those different cultures and those different taste profiles. So those 19 restaurants and shops operate for the most part 7 days out of the week, 362 days out of the year. So we close for Thanksgiving, Christmas Day, and New Year's Day. Even when we had our Snowmageddon, that's what we called this past spring, the farmers market was actually continued to stay in operation and served as a warming station, as well as a place for people to come have a hot meal during that time period. Those restaurants and shops, again, for the most part, are open 7 days out of the week, and they're primarily lunch establishments. Most of those businesses close around 2 p.m., but this year we're trying something new. There's a lot of growth in our neighborhood. We've got the First Tennessee Ballpark that's just a few blocks away from us, and there are a lot of new residential communities popping up in this area. So our restaurants have decided to stay open for dinner service on Friday and Saturday nights. So if you enjoyed your lunch today, come back tomorrow night or Saturday night. Not only will you get a great dinner with a lot to choose from, but you'll also get to hear some live music on either one of those nights. We have an R&B band that plays on Friday nights, and they do a variety of different music. And then on Saturday night, we do a local songwriters night. Nashville is known for its food, but most importantly, it is known for its music. And we feel like the farmers market is a great place to celebrate both of those things. So we work with Lightning 100 to do a songwriters night on Saturday nights from 5 to 7. So if you're musically inclined or you just want to try it out and sing a few songs, show up around 4:30 and you can sign up to take the stage at the market. The restaurants, again, for the most part, are primarily opened only during the day, except for Friday and Saturday night. That also goes for the shops that are in the market. International Market, if you have an opportunity to go through that today, I encourage you to do so. It's a great place to find any type of spice or baking product. They have some fruits and vegetables that are hard to find. They locate items for restaurants throughout the community that no one else seems to be able to locate. So they not only service as a great resource here for customers and the community, but also to restaurateurs across the city. Batch Nashville is fairly new. It's on the opposite side of International Market, and it is our other shop. They bring items that are locally made, whether it's a craft or a food product, to the community in one-stop shopping. So a lot of the folks that are in Batch Nashville, they actually started their business at the Nashville Farmers Market, standing behind a 6-foot table, selling their pancake mix or their jams or jellies, salsa, spices, cocktail mixes, tea towels, whatever it may be. They got their start here, and their business was successful enough for them to establish more distribution in the community. And often what happens at farmers markets is as those businesses become successful, they have to leave the farmers market because they have to produce more product. And that has an impact on their customers that are used to accessing them at the farmers market. That's why we love Batch so much, because it brings people back that started here at a 6-foot table that were so successful that they had to leave us. And now it gives them a home here, and it allows them to continue to grow their business without having to stand behind the table and retail their products. So make sure that you check them out while you're visiting the market today or in the future, because I think it's a great way to support a lot of local entrepreneurs that moved to Nashville, that wanted to start a business and had resources and opportunities just like you're learning about, and have now found a great deal of success here in Nashville. So that's the Market House. Now I'm going to take you to what we call the south side of our property. The south side of our property is, if you look on your map, you'll see words that say Farm Shed 1 or Artisan Shed coming soon. So it's on this side. The Farm Shed 1 has been the primary home to where you find farmers from all over the state and the region, primarily on Saturdays and Sundays at the market. In the past, you would have also have found farmers there throughout the week, year-round, but we've recently changed some of our merchant standards, which are more friendly towards local and regional growers. And so as we go into peak season, right now you're going to find less in the shed until we get into the month of June, when things are ready to be harvested. And our sheds will be abundantly full June through November, and then what we call our non-peak season, which is December through April, you'll find them slightly less full and primarily busy on the weekends. But that shed is home to more than 30 farmers on Saturdays and Sundays throughout peak growing season. You'll find anything from a peach from South Carolina or Georgia to Tennessee sweet tomatoes and strawberries, zucchini, squash, potatoes, watermelon, cantaloupe, anything that's grown in this area in terms of fruits and vegetables, you'll find there on Saturday and Sundays as those products are in season. You'll also find a lot of different meat producers. So we have 4 individual farms that work with the Nashville Farmers Market to offer proteins. And they're primarily here on weekends as well. We have several bakeries that operate in the shed that bring fresh baked bread, eggs, poultry, as well as pies and other yummy treats on the weekends. And then several dairies. So you can get fresh milk here. You can also get fresh cheese here at the market on a pretty consistent basis. The shed directly behind the farm shed is the one that says Artisan Marketplace coming soon. And that's a really exciting new establishment for the Nashville Farmers Market. As you might imagine, having 4 open-air sheds makes our business very seasonal. When it's cold outside, it's very hard for those businesses to operate there. So one of the things that we're doing is we're utilizing some capital investments that our city is making in our property to enclose that shed. And it'll create a marketplace for local food artisans and entrepreneurs to come and establish their businesses, much like in the market house, on a year-round basis. So many of you may have seen the peach cobbler factory in the market house. That's what we call a food artisan. So they are handcrafting their product on a daily basis in a commercial kitchen, and they want to bring it to you as often as possible. They have a great cobbler product. They also make cinnamon rolls. They're looking for a home. And inside the market house, the way it's set up is that those homes are provided to businesses that establish a commercial kitchen restaurant or a shop that operates year-round all the time. Their business, they don't want to take that approach. They want to have a more temporary approach to their establishment because they have a commercial kitchen that they rent to produce their product. So what this Artisan Marketplace will offer them is an indoor facility that has a place for them to set up their products year-round and find a home, just like our farmers have found a home here. We're really excited about it. It'll be anchored by a company called Juice Nashville that, again, got started here behind a 6-foot table and has expanded throughout the city. And they will they'll purchase products from our farmers to make their cold press juices with. They'll showcase how they make that product here, and then they'll be able to retail that product. Has anybody been to a Krispy Kreme? Okay, I have to admit I used to work for Krispy Kreme. Early on in my career, I worked for Krispy Kreme at their corporate office. And when I came here, one of the things that really hit me was that we had an opportunity to show people how food is made. Not only introduce them to products that they can take home and make, but really help people understand how it goes from this raw ingredient into a product. So that's what we're doing with Juice Nashville. They're actually going to show you behind a glass box how they make juice. And we're hoping to establish a second tenant in that shed that will showcase food production as well. And we'll be announcing that later on this summer, who that's going to be. So as that takes root, please come back, check it out. And if any of you are operating businesses that are related to food or beverage and you're interested in it, please don't hesitate to contact the Nashville Farmers Market to get your spot in that space. On the other side of our property, which is what we call the north side of our property, the front shed is being reestablished this year as Farm Shed 2. We have so many farmers that are excited about what we're doing here at the Nashville Farmers Market that we needed more space dedicated to them. And this is a great problem to have. The Nashville Farmers Market has not been faced with that dilemma in a very long time. So we'll have more than 46 farms participating at the Nashville Farmers Market this year, whereas in the past we've had 10. So that's a huge leap. And we are establishing that front shed on the north side as a second farm shed. So today, as we walk through it, you'll see that a lot of the stalls are taken up with bedding plants and trees and shrubs. Typically, you can find plant producers at the market in April, May, and June. That's their season here, and then once they roll out of season, we load that shed up going forward with fruits and vegetables as well as protein and dairy products. So that's another exciting thing that's coming to the market over the course of the next few weeks. The back shed on this property on the north side is our craft and flea area. And to me, it's one of the most diverse places at the Nashville Farmers Market. You will find a variety of different businesses offering their handmade crafts, paintings, furniture, jewelry, clothing, musical instruments, you name it. You'll also find a lot of flea market merchants offering vintage and international global wares. So it's a place to come and shop for just about anything, whether you're looking for a body care product or you're looking for a great piece of jewelry or a painting for your home, a rug for your home. It's a really great place to come and introduce yourself to other members of the community that have transplanted here with their families, and they've established businesses here, small businesses that have operated here for many, many years. We have 17 different countries represented in our craft and flea area at the market, and we're really, really proud of that. It's my understanding we have 23 countries represented here today. Is that correct? So we've got a few more so that we can be even. So if any of you are interested in joining what we're doing with our craft and flea market, please don't hesitate to contact us. It's something that we're really focused on, increasing the diversity of the members of the community that we represent here at the market, as well as the types of products that are available here. We really want Nashville to celebrate what a rich culture we're beginning to create and establish here. And we feel like the Nashville Farmers Market is a great home to celebrate that on a year-round basis, not just through food, but through craft as well. So that's really how our property works. Again, we are open 7 days out of the week, 362 days out of the year, very rarely close, even for snowstorms. And we're always here to serve you. Some of the other programs that we offer the community, oh, I'm so sorry, energy savings. So some of the other programs that we offer to try to engage the community is we have a Grow Local Kitchen. So many of you walked right past it as you came up, but in the center of the market house, you would have seen Manchita operating in the Grow Local Kitchen today. That program is operated by our staff to help food entrepreneurs, chefs, and makers of all kind establish their business without having to make the investment in a commercial kitchen or brick and mortar for their restaurant. So we've had businesses come here and test their concepts, whether they're a top performing chef to someone who's just getting started. We've had several businesses graduate from that program and establish roots here in the Nashville Farmers Market. 2 of those are in operation today downstairs, MyCity Crepes as well as Bowl and Roll. Both of those businesses started in the Grow Local Kitchen, and then after working in that kitchen for about 18 months, they were able to establish kiosk in the market house. And then after a year of operating a kiosk, they just recently opened full-service establishments in the market house to anchor their businesses here. So we really try to work with our entrepreneurs to help them learn how to operate a business as well as manage their food cost and labor cost. And of course, we support them with their marketing efforts as well. The Grow Local Kitchen is available for rent 7 days out of the week. And there's a very simple application process and coaching process that you go through as you use that kitchen. We also work with community organizations like AARP Tennessee. AARP Tennessee has become a programmatic partner of the Nashville Farmers Market over the past 18 months to help us reach new communities and new audiences. And, I think a lot of folks think that AARP is for our grandparents, and it's not. It's for any active community, and they have a lot of great resources to offer us all, whether we're beginning to take care of our parents or we're in that age bracket that needs to learn about resources for ourselves. What they do here is they offer a program called Meet Me at the Farmers Market on the second Wednesday of every month. They put together a cooking demonstration program where you can learn about eating and preparing in-season fruits and vegetables. So they bring in a local chef to do those cooking demonstrations. And then folks like Master Gardeners and MTA, the Nashville Farmers Market, sometimes the health department, we come together that day and do a variety of different educational activities on the property. And so it's a great opportunity for you to learn more about things that are available to you in our city. So that's the second Wednesday of every month, and it's from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's typically a very busy day at the Nashville Farmers Market, which means our parking lot is packed. I would encourage you to take public transportation to the market that day. Please do that. And anytime you can take public transportation to the Nashville Farmers Market, whether it's on a bike or you want to walk or you want to ride the bus, please do that. Make sure that you use those resources in our city. I think there are so many people that that don't completely utilize those services, and they get frustrated when they get to the market and our parking lot is packed. And yes, we want our parking lot to be packed because we want you here, but we still want to be able to service everyone in the community. So use it. There's a great stop just right up here by the train trestle of Bicentennial Mall in between our two properties that the Music City Circuit drops off at. And if I'm not mistaken, that's free. So please use that service. Second Wednesday of every month, come to that. We also operate two other programs. One's at Vanderbilt. It's a neighborhood farmers market. It operates June through October on Thursdays from 3 to 7. That market is on the corner of Hillsborough Road and Blakemore. It's a really great market that has a lot of different fruits and vegetables that immigrant farmers are growing in outlying counties, and you can't get them at any other farmers market in the city. So check out the Vanderbilt Farmers Market Thursdays 3 to 7. This will be our fourth year operating that market, and it's continuing to grow. Vanderbilt's actually giving us more property on their campus so that we can continue to add more vendors to that market. And you'll find primarily farmers and food artisans at that farmers market every Thursday. Blakemore and 21st. Mm-hmm. And then we also operate the Richland Park Neighborhood Farmers Market. So that is right off of Charlotte, across from Porter Road Butcher, next to the Richland Park Library. That operates on Saturdays, May through November, from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. You'll find a variety of different fruits and vegetables, proteins, dairy products there every Saturday, May through mid-November. And that market we adopted from a community organization last year, and we're in the process of rebuilding it. And we've been very delighted to be a part of that process because it's taught us a lot about working with neighborhood groups to establish a program in a public park. So we work with the Parks Department to reestablish that farmers market to serve those community needs. Even though it's close proximity to downtown, we feel like neighborhood markets create a lot of community. It helps us all get out of our own yards and get to know one another, which makes us a stronger neighborhood. So we're delighted to be a part of that as well. I think that's kind of the Nashville Farmers Market in a nutshell. We do a variety of different special events here. You can find out about the special events that operate on our property on our Facebook page or our Twitter account or on the Farmers Market website. Our events typically celebrate food and culture. So it's very rare that that you find anything that operates here at the Nashville Farmers Market outside of that, unless we've partnered with another metro government entity or state entity or a nonprofit group. But usually when they bring their events here, they're also celebrating food and culture too. So anything ranging from a German beer festival that takes place here every September to jazz events that are shared between Bicentennial Mall and the Nashville Farmers Market each year. This past April, we did a great partnership with PCAT, which is the Prevent Child Abuse Association of Tennessee, where they put up pinwheels all over our property, and it brought a ton of families here that introduced families that hadn't been here in a long time to what's going on at the Nashville Farmers Market. So we're home to many things, and we're delighted to serve as the Nashville Farmers Market for you as your community. So I'll be happy to take any questions.
Let's do that, and then I think we need to be back here in about 15 or 20 minutes. So how long do you think?
I think we can probably fast pace the tour to take about 7 to 8 minutes, if that's okay.
So then we've got 5 or so minutes for questions.
Yep. Yes.
Can you walk us through the process of becoming an artisan seller? So how does that work with the commercial kitchen use and everything?
So for us, we have an application process that usually kickstarts our introduction for services to an individual. So you come into our office or you access this application on our website, which is NashvilleFarmersMarket.org, and you complete that to the best of your ability. And once you get that application to us, if there are areas of that application that you're unsure of how to complete or you have questions about, that's when we start consulting you on how to acquire a manufacturing permit, how to interact with the health department, what type of product labeling you'll be required to do, or if you simply need guidance on how to access use of a commercial kitchen. We have staff and resources here at the Nashville Farmers Market to help guide individuals, whether they're in the startup phase or they've perfected their product and they're ready to go to retail. It doesn't matter what level you're in, we're here to help you along the way. And then once you've established all of the necessary things like having a business license, having your sales tax use certificate, and then any permits you're required by the state or the local health department, you're able to retail your products here. And we don't simply point you to those offices, we guide you in how to move through that process, which I think makes us very unique. To cost to participate here or to go through that full process? So it depends upon your business type and what type of product that you're trying to establish and retail. So I can't necessarily answer that question. I can tell you that it's a fairly low entry to get the business license as well as the sales tax use certificate. And those stay on file here for the duration of until those certificates expire. And then we help you. We remind you that you need to reapply for renewal on those certificates. But to participate here, depending upon your merchant type, I'll walk through that very quickly because there are a lot of different rates and fees. As a farmer, it's going to range between $20 a day and $50 a day, depending upon the type of year. So in non-peak season, it's $20 Sunday through Friday to participate at the Nashville Farmers Market. And on Saturdays, it's $25. It's $25 on Saturday simply because that's when the majority of customers come shop, and that's when we have the most demand for our space. In peak season, it's $25 Sunday through Friday, and it's $50 on Saturday. Our crowds change substantially in peak season. So in non-peak season, we'll see about 2,000 people on a Saturday. And in peak season, like this past Saturday, we saw over 5,000 people in one day. So it is a premium to be able to participate on those Saturdays. It doesn't seem to deter anyone. We give discounts to nonprofit groups as well as small farms upon request. Our board gives us the ability to discount those. So if you have a small farm that's 10 acres or less, or if you're a nonprofit organization, we're able to work with you on the fees. To participate in Craft and Flea, it's $75 for the weekend. That's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's not $75 a day. It's $75 for all 3 days. And that's the lowest price point entry you're going to find throughout the city to be able to participate in a Craft and Flea market. Food artisans range from $35 a day to $65 a day, depending upon where they'd like to do business. If they're doing business outside, it's the lower rate, and if they're doing business in the market house, it's the higher rate. Yes, ma'am.
I have a question about your new policy, the reseller policy. So a lot of new Americans, when we come in, we don't have land or anything like that. and therefore it's kind of weird that, you know, if they wanted to get into agriculture, they couldn't participate in the farmers market. So I just wanted to know what you guys are doing to maybe diversify the farmers who are going to be participating at the farmers market, and also the issue of exclusivity, I guess, for people without land in Nashville or Tennessee even.
So you do not have to own your land in order to participate at the Nashville Farmers Market, and your land does not have to be in Nashville, Middle Tennessee, or Tennessee. I'll tackle the first one. There are a lot of farmers that share crop, a lot of farmers that lease land, borrow land, or utilize public spaces that participate here at the Nashville Farmers Market. And we encourage people that have obstacles to land usage to access other programs like the Human Relations Commission. Can help people identify and locate community gardens where people can establish their garden or their farm. We also refer people to Hands On Nashville, who runs an urban farming program that helps people locate land that's being underutilized where they can farm in urban communities. But again, we do not require that you own the land. We simply want to know where you're farming and what you're growing. It's been in a historical standpoint, we haven't had documented standards that require you to be the actual producer or grower of your products at the Nashville Farmers Market. So when you use the word resale, I'm not sure if everyone in the room really knows exactly what that means, but for the past 20 plus years, the market has been home primarily to individuals that were reselling produce that they either purchased directly from a farmer to sell at our market, from a produce house who had purchased it either from a third party or a farmer, or from auctions. There are Mennonite auctions and Amish auctions all throughout Kentucky where you can purchase produce at wholesale cost and take it to market. Or also from rejection loads that were rejected by the major retail chains in our community. So that product was being directed here and then sold to the community. Now, there are some pluses and minuses to that, just to be candid with you. Pluses: food access 24/7, 7 days out of the week, 362 days out of the year, regardless of seasonality of food. One of the major minuses is that we didn't always know where the food was coming from and if it was actually safe to be consumed. Much of the food that was here was coming from the rejection loads. And that's not the type of program that we want to run here. And our board made a unanimous decision to have a more authentic and transparent retail establishment for local and regional growers. So that's what's really driving that decision, is the authenticity as well as the integrity behind knowing if those products were farm raised or if they were simply diverted from a broker. We will work with any individual, any group to help you overcome whatever barriers you're facing to farming or gardening. We are privy to a lot of resources that individuals may be challenged with, and we're happy to help in any way. So if you know of individuals that are looking to get into farming and they're unsure of what resources are available, please don't hesitate to call me, and I'll do what I can. Many of the resellers that were here have either moved their business to another location that allows that. Barnes Produce is a great example. They operated here for a little over 15 years as a reseller. They're great people. They've got great products. I miss them. And they're now in East Nashville, and they're running a produce store in East Nashville right on Gallatin Road. And they're sourcing from third parties as well as farmers, and they run a great business. So I would encourage you to check them out. It's called Barnes Produce. Another example is Mike with Bellevue Produce. You'll find him in the North Shed this afternoon. Mike used to operate strictly as a reseller, even though he was a farmer. And he worked directly with area farmers because they didn't want to come to the market and stand behind the table. So he would buy their products from them and take them to various markets throughout the community and resell their products. So as Mike evaluated the board's new policies, he came to us and said, what can I do to make this work? And we worked with Mike to help him establish a collective of those growers. So now, instead of him serving as a reseller, they're all collectively working together. Each one of those farms put in an application to do business here at the market, and they've hired Mike to be their agent to bring their products to the market. So he handles all the labor behind operating the table and the retail here at the market, and he also grows at his farm, and then he gathers all their products together and brings them here. So a lot of folks don't realize that we're allowing that. It's just the product that's untraceable is what we're not allowing anymore.
And we're going to go ahead and get started so that we can give, sorry, Dr. Paul, so we can give Dr. Paul a chance to talk. So yeah, so great. Thank you so much, Tasha, for the wonderful tour and the great information. So Dr. Paul is the head of our public health department, and he has been in that position since 2007. Before that, he was in the public health department in Chicago, and he has had the opportunity to preside over such illustrious city health issues as Ebola, not like we had Ebola here, but the Ebola epidemic, and H1N1, as well as the flood. So he's been through it all, and he's here to talk to us about it. So thank you so much, Dr. Paul. Oh, and he qualified for the Boston Marathon also. Living Fitness.
Living Fitness. Good afternoon. Are you having a good day? Yes. And how many sessions is MyCity Academy? Wow, okay. And what month are you in now? Month 3. Okay, so you're very good at this now. And I don't need to spend a lot of time talking. I want to spend plenty of time for your questions, because I'm sure you probably have some questions about what we do. I'm the director of the Metro Public Health Department. We have a new facility. It's at 2500 Charlotte. Who's already been and seen our new facility? Okay. They're welcome to meet at our facilities one of these months, or maybe next time around. It'll be kind of fun. We love having people come by. It's a beautiful new building. It's an asset for the community. We feel lucky to have it, and it kind of embodies our mission. Our mission is to protect, improve, and sustain health and well-being for everyone in Nashville. And one of the things here in Nashville is when people often think about health, they're thinking about health care, they're thinking about medicine. Our business is not so much medicine. We do see patients for sexually transmitted diseases. We see patients for family planning, vaccinations, tuberculosis. So we do have some clinical medicine function and a couple of doctors, but our main job is prevention. And so when we talk about health, we always say health and well-being, because we're trying to keep people from getting sick, keep people from needing medical care. We do a wide variety of different things. Now, why does a building represent that? Well, you have to come visit the building. I'll talk about the building. But really, prevention would be probably one of the key words that we use in public health. So preventing ill health, keeping people safe and healthy, and especially a lot that we do has to do with children. Another way of, so I'm going to give 2 more ways of thinking about the health department. One is our vision statement, which is people creating healthy conditions everywhere. And so if we're successful as a health department, it's really about making Nashville a healthy place. It's about making every institution, every school, every workplace, every neighborhood in Nashville a healthy place, so that everybody in Nashville, no matter where you are, has the ingredients with which they can have a full and healthy life. And you know that doesn't start and end with vaccinations, and it doesn't start and end with immunization. It's a very broad set of things. Maybe one more way of thinking about public health. I'm a doctor. My patient is, I only have one patient, Nashville. And so in our world of public health, we try to diagnose health as a community attribute and make prescriptions on how Nashville can get healthier. And so a lot of what we do has to do with that. I'm going to talk a little bit about this handout in front of you in terms of what are the services that we offer. If you come to us, what are the kinds of things we do? And then I maybe spend a minute or two on, obviously, our mission is so huge. Let's just make Nashville a healthy place. That's not the kind of thing that we do alone. It's not the kind of thing any one organization can do alone. It's the kind of thing that requires connection. It requires connection with faith communities, with neighborhoods, with elected officials, with schools, and that's sort of a community effort of creating a healthier Nashville, creating healthier conditions. But if you look at this, sort of a big chunk of what we do day to day is serve customers. And if you look at this, we provide our set of clinical services at 3 sites. One of them is that new building on Charlotte, 2500 Charlotte. Then the East Health Center on Trinity Lane, and the Woodbine Health Center at 224 Oriole Avenue. We have a couple of other sites. One is on Nolensville Road, which is just WIC. And I don't have the address in my head right now. We also do animal control. We have a site that's a warehouse for food called the Community Commodity Supplemental Food Program. I'm going to read through these. We do family planning. This is available at 3 of our sites. Dental clinic. We're not really a full-service dental clinic for everyone. We know that Nashville doesn't have enough dental services for people who can't afford it, but we work with others to try and make that better. In fact, the mayor's budget this year has a little bit of money to expand our dental services. But we have a clinic. It's at the 2500 Charlotte building. Most of what we do is children, and most of what we do is preventive. And so one of the ways that the children come to us is through our dental sealant program. So in the Metro Public Schools, we have dental hygienists that go and they examine kids and they provide sealants. And so if kids in the schools need to see a dentist, they're referred from the school back to our dental clinic or to their own dentist, wherever that might be. So dentistry has a lot to do with our sealant program in the schools and prevention among kids, but if we're lucky, we'll get a little bit more resources and be able to do a little bit more with adults, because there's a lot of adults with sore teeth in Nashville. Sexually transmitted disease clinic. You can see there. That's the full service STD clinic is there at the Charlotte site. You can get some screening done at other places. WIC. Who's familiar with WIC? Most people are familiar with WIC. This is supplemental nutrition program for women, infants, and children. It's a federal program from the Department of Agriculture. And so it's pretty much set, but it is one of the biggest services we provide. Of all the babies born in Nashville, half the babies born in Nashville come to WIC. And some people in our community might think that WIC is all for poor people. Well, it's not. Half the babies come to us. So it's any child with some element of nutritional risk. And so we have customers who are, they wouldn't call themselves poor. They're families that are starting out in life, and they need a little bit of assistance. We've had families who really they're not coming to our WIC clinic so much for nutrition assistance, but for breastfeeding support. One of the biggest things that we advocate and we try to help families with is breastfeeding, and we worked with the hospitals where babies are born to try and change some of their practices so that, yes, it's okay, it's normal to breastfeed your child, because in this country we kind of move towards breastfeeding being a little different, and what we're trying to do is move breastfeeding back towards being normal, because that's healthier. It's healthier for prevention of infections, prevention of obesity, a whole lot of reasons and we're starting to see improvement in Nashville WIC is very important to us. Immunization is also very important to us. We give lots of immunizations at those 3 sites, and we are pretty convenient and we are pretty expert. If somebody has insurance, more and more we can't just give it to them free. So if somebody has insurance, we're going to it's best for them to go to their own medical provider or they can come to us, but they might need to get reimbursed by their insurance. We might need to charge because we receive vaccine from the federal government, and we can't just give it away free to everybody because if it's already paid for by your insurance, the insurance should be paying for it. Tuberculosis, relatively small numbers in Nashville, but it is still a concern in Nashville, and so we have a full-service tuberculosis clinic. We see every active TB patient, and we make sure that they get cured, and that can be a challenge sometimes. On the other side of your sheet, you see some of our things that are in different domains. We do pest management. There are mosquitoes in Nashville, and some neighborhoods are worse than others, and we will go out on complaints. We don't spray to kill adult mosquitoes, but we're very active in trying to intervene so that the breeding sites of mosquitoes are not there's not standing water in neighborhoods, those kind of things, and other pests as well. Vehicle emissions. If you have a car, you need to get your car tested. That's our contractor that's doing that. So it's us that you can be mad at about your vehicle emissions contract. But it's part of our role in assuring air quality for Nashville, because we know that if the air's dirty with ozone, with particulate matter, that we'll see more kids in the hospital with asthma. Well, actually, polluted air kills people. So it's not just the mayor and the Metropolitan Council, it's a United States EPA that requires us to have measures in place to keep the air clean. And we try to be as convenient as we can. And you'll hear more in the next year or two about a renewal of our contract, because it's inconvenient that you have to go get tested and then you have to go somewhere else and get your sticker. And so we're interested in trying to figure that out, but it's taken some time. Animal care and control is part of the health department, and you may be familiar with that. We're always looking for people who want to have a pet animal, but we are also the people to call if in your neighborhood there's a loose animal that's making people feel uncomfortable, making people feel unsafe. Birth certificates and death certificates. So we are a service that we provide both to funeral homes, but to families who need a birth certificate. I know that, Sean, I'm not sure exactly where we are on that whole executive order. Okay, stuck in federal court. I won't talk about it then.
Well, no, it's good though. I mean, you should. And I'll just say the health department has been really helpful, and we've talked about this a little bit. You can talk about it more, but President Obama's executive actions on immigration that would provide work permits for some folks here who are undocumented. The health department has been wonderful, and if it ever gets unstuck from federal court, you can go to them to get a birth certificate or immunization records to prove the 5 years of residency that you would need to show if you needed to apply for a DACA or for DAPA.
So we both give immunization records, and also we keep immunization records. So in Tennessee, there is a registry. So if you go to a doctor and your child gets an immunization, that record should go into this database so that if you go to another doctor, they don't give you the same immunization again. They know what where your child stands, and that they're given the right immunizations at the right time. But we also keep records, and we help people with the records that they need for immunizations, and that also can be very important for school. One of the things we're doing this summer, we did it last year before we moved to our new building, and we're very excited about it for the new building, is actually working with Metro Schools to have a enrollment day where the schools are at the clinic and we're able to take care of shots, take care of birth records, take care of enrollment all in one place with actual different parts of the metropolitan government working together to get the job done. So what's that? A magician? You know, people like to work together in Nashville. And then behavioral health. It's a small thing that we do, but it's a very important part of health and well-being for people in Nashville, mental health. We're not a major provider of services to people who need help for mental illness, but we are trying to work in various ways to make Nashville a better place for people who have mental illness. Some things we're dealing with: suicide prevention, teaching everyone a little bit about how to recognize signs of someone who's really considering suicide, and what are the things to do and who to call. But in different ways, we want to make sure that Nashville improves in terms of not just preventing suicide, but promoting behavioral health, mental health, and well-being. Now, there's other stuff we do, but I wanted to leave some time for you to just ask some questions. Clearly, if we do all these things, that's great, but then there's what we need to do all as a community, and it's like the mayor has done a ton of stuff that's good for our health, but you've seen it in the Parks Department. You see it here in the farmers market. You see it in the schools, the food that they serve in the schools, the physical activity in the schools. There's sort of like this culture of health that we need as a community. It's not all about the health department. Hopefully today has partly been that way for you. But I'm always interested in hearing and answering questions or whatever we can do. Yeah.
I know that Metro Schools expend some energy on mindfulness training in their social emotional piece. Mm-hmm. Does that intersect with you at all as a tool for kids learning about themselves really and how to deal with the emotions that they have?
It's really important. One of the ways we collaborate with schools is through this organization, Alignment Nashville, and there are children's health committees, and one of those is a behavioral health committee. And so one of the big annual events is a conference, which is professional development for teachers and educators and anybody else on social and emotional learning. But I'm
the only non-teacher who went last year.
Oh, really? Okay, well, I think it started out as just providers, and then it has shifted, and now the educators really want that. It's there. How was it? Was it a good conference?
That's really, there is mindfulness training in the schools, but it's tiny, and it could be so powerful.
Yeah, I think it's an important thing, and I think people are more and more recognizing it. Obviously, there's a new director of schools coming in, potentially a new strategic plan, and opportunity to focus more on that too. Other comments or questions? Up in front?
Yeah, first of all, I want to say that thanks very much and for the effective move that you made regarding the Ebola issues. I think this is my second time meeting you. Mm-hmm. The one they have at the health department, I was there, and I'm from Liberia, Sierra Leone, Guinea. Mm-hmm. Those are the people affected, and I was really enthused to see you, the leadership that you played, and the informing tendencies, how to prevent ourselves. And I think I sent the email to you and you responded back, which I really like, and I appreciate the great job you have done and regarding the Ebola issues and what you continue to do. And thank you very much. I have no question. Okay. I have to say that I used to be most against that when I go to the doctor, they say, when I say out of the country, all these things. So now after the Ebola issue, I try to figure out, yes, I see why they ask some of those questions. And I used to be against that. I said, but why are you asking me? I've been there 20 years or 10 years.
Yeah, it's always important for us to make sure everybody's treated fairly, because sometimes people confuse. A virus doesn't know what country you're from, So we never try to attach a virus to a group of people. It's a virus, and it's spread in this particular way. Yes. So there was a question back here.
Sorry.
Did you have your hand up?
I did, yes.
So I work for one of the refugee resettlement agencies, and having had an office in one of the, well, 2 of our apartment complexes, pest control has been an issue. Can you expand a little bit on the process of asking for aid in pest control intervention and what you guys do when you come in?
Oh, I might not have the expertise, but I can get your phone number and I can put you in contact with our staff. Have you talked to the health department about it?
I believe I've called before, and there was some barrier in that. There was a barrier I didn't understand, and I just wanted to see what the process is like.
Okay. My general sense is call us.
Okay.
And we'll do the very best. And if it's still confusing, then we haven't really completely done our job. So call again, or call me and send me an email. I'm bill.paul@nashville.gov, and we can we can figure it out. Yes.
What is one major health issues that you see Nashville is facing, and what are you guys trying to do to solve that issue?
The major health issues that Nashville's facing. Okay, well, one of the things we do, so you go to the doctor, you complain of something, the doctor takes a history, does an exam. Well, we did a big history and a big exam on Nashville. We call it our community health assessment. And so there's a group called the Healthy Nashville Leadership Council that really looked and talked to people and looked at all kinds of data. And the 3 things that they prioritized for Nashville, one of them is actually health equity. That is, why in some neighborhoods are people less healthy? Why do people die early in this neighborhood and they don't die early in that neighborhood? And so really looking at what are the determinants? How can we as a community make it fair so that everybody gets to live a good, long and healthy life? And so health equity is a subject for us that we're pursuing, and we have actually a summit on June 5th where we're going to try and get different perspectives and start to get our arms around that. Mental health and well-being is important, and that came out very clearly in several assessments that were done. And so there are different angles, many different angles on mental health and behavioral health, from addiction to social and emotional learning in schools to the long-term health impacts. One of the things many people are concerned about is in early childhood. What happens in early childhood follows you the rest of your life. If you have a very serious adverse event in early childhood, and you have multiple early childhood adverse events, there is a really long-term impact on your learning, on your propensity for all sorts of bad things down the road. So figuring out as a community, how does our community of care interact with those? And then the third, which is one where you've seen it, Nashville's, and this mayor especially, is recognized that and moving in that direction, is that the environment that we create for ourselves needs to be healthy. So sidewalks, bike lanes, buildings that have healthy features, parkland, all the things about our natural environment, our built environment. As we make those decisions, it's not just about recreation, it's also about our health. So those are the 3 things that Nashville's put forward for now as important health issues to deal with. Any other questions or comments?
So do you guys work with like big hospitals such as Vanderbilt, Centennial? Do you guys work together as a Nashville community? Or?
Yes. Each of the nonprofit hospitals is required by the Internal Revenue Service to have a community health assessment and a community health improvement plan. So Vanderbilt, St. Thomas are working with us on our health improvement plans. And clearly all the hospitals, like if something comes up like Ebola, we were all talking together, and it was reassuring to us to know what each hospital was doing to prepare. But it was also reassuring to the hospital to know that we were there, and we actually were tracking travelers to make sure they were okay. So even if a traveler didn't have Ebola, travel from a country that had Ebola, we would check in with them every day for 21 days. And the hospitals found that very reassuring. So the communication on emergency preparedness is very strong. The communication on community health improvement is also something that's developing. Yes.
So this whole vaccination thing came up in California. How's Tennessee looking? Are people vaccinating their kids? Are they?
You know, that was scary, wasn't it? The measles outbreak. I mean, measles is still incredibly common in the world, and airplanes travel is also very common in this country, and so being protected is really important. We've been fortunate, and Tennessee is a state that immunizes, so we don't have quite what they've got in terms of big pockets of affluent people who don't immunize. Even in our affluent communities, kids are immunized. And even in our less affluent communities, by and large, people are immunized. And for 2-year-olds, our immunization rate for measles is 95%, I think. That doesn't mean we're safe. It doesn't mean that new babies aren't being born every day that could become, that we can't be complacent about it. But we think that, A, it's a combination of good luck, and B, it's a good public health infrastructure where people are still taking immunizations very seriously here.
Do you do travel immunizations too?
We don't do travel immunizations. We have the list of immunizations that's in Vaccine for Children, and certainly anybody who's contemplating travel and isn't sure whether they've had a measles shot ought to get one. So there are some things that you need for travel that you might be able to get with us, but we don't run a travel clinic.
All right, well, that's
Okay.
all. Thank you so much.
Thank you all for your attention.